Beloved soul, before you move forward, allow yourself to pause. Let the noise of the outer world soften. Let the breath become slow and natural. There is nothing you need to fix, prove, or hurry toward. This is a sacred moment of remembering. You are about to listen to words that are not meant to push or persuade, but to restore, to remind you of a truth that has always lived quietly within you. These affirmations are not effortful declarations. They are gentle agreements with divine law. They speak of a universe that is orderly, loving, and endlessly generous. They whisper of a supply that does not fluctuate with circumstance, but flows from an infinite source that knows your name. As you listen through each section, allow the words to wash over you. You do not need to analyze them. You do not need to make anything happen. Truth requires no strain. Simply listen with an open heart. Let each affirmation find its own resting place within you. If the mind wanders, bring it back softly without judgment. Like returning home, these words are meant to be heard again and again. Each time, they will deepen your sense of safety, trust, and quiet confidence. Each time, they will strengthen your awareness that you are divinely supported, financially provided for, and lovingly guided at all times. Remain with this offering from beginning to end. Let the message unfold naturally, like light appearing at dawn, steady, inevitable, and kind. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. I rest in this truth now. There is a presence that goes before me and prepares my way. It is loving, wise, and unfailing. This presence is my source, and it never withholds. I do not look to people, conditions, or circumstances for my supply. I look within and upward, to the eternal source that knows my every need. I am held in divine care. I am guided by divine intelligence. I am sustained by divine love. Money is not separate from spirit. Provision is not distant or uncertain. All that I require flows to me through perfect channels. At the perfect time, in perfect harmony. I release the old belief that I must struggle to be supported. I release the idea that abundance is fragile or fleeting. I let these thoughts dissolve gently. Without resistance, without judgment, I am learning to trust again. I am learning to lean into divine law. I am learning that supply is a constant, not an exception. The universe is orderly and just. What is meant for me cannot miss me. What is divinely appointed arrives with ease. I do not force the flow of abundance. I allow it. I feel safe knowing that I am never alone in my financial journey. I am not figuring life out by myself. I am co-creating with infinite wisdom. There is always more than enough. Enough time. Enough opportunity. Enough money. Enough grace. I give thanks in advance for what is already unfolding. Gratitude opens my heart and steadies my faith. I am thankful not because I see everything clearly, but because I trust the unseen hand that guides me. Every day, my confidence grows quieter and deeper. I no longer need signs or proof to feel secure. I know, in the stillness of my being, that I am supported. Divine abundance is not earned. It is accepted. It is received with humility and joy. I allow myself to receive freely. I allow money to come to me in ways that are peaceful and aligned. I allow generosity to meet me at every turn. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. This truth settles gently into my heart. It becomes my natural expectation. It becomes my way of seeing the world. I rest now in trust. I rest now in faith. I rest now in the certainty that all is well. And so it is. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. I move through life with trust in divine order. There is a rhythm to the universe, gentle and precise. I am part of this rhythm. Nothing in my life is random, and nothing is forgotten. Every need is known before I speak it. Every answer is prepared before I ask. I relax into this knowing. I let go of tension around money and provision. I no longer watch the outer world with concern. I keep my attention on the inner assurance that all is well. Divine supply flows to me naturally and continuously. It is not rushed, and it is never late. It arrives in ways that feel calm, supportive, and right. I do not need to chase abundance. Abundance recognizes me. I trust the pathways through which money comes to me. Some are familiar, some are new. All are guided. I welcome unexpected blessings with quiet gratitude. I welcome steady provision with deep appreciation. I welcome increase without fear or disbelief. What comes to me is meant for me. I release the habit of worrying about tomorrow. Tomorrow is already held in divine care. I am not responsible for controlling outcomes. My role is to remain open, faithful, and receptive. When I am still, I hear guidance. When I am calm, I receive direction. When I trust, doors open effortlessly. I feel supported even in moments of uncertainty. I feel protected even when I cannot see the full picture. I feel guided, step by step. Money moves through my life as a blessing. It is an expression of divine generosity. It supports my needs, my joy, and my ability to give. I handle money with reverence and peace. I am not afraid of having enough. I am not afraid of having more. I trust myself to receive wisely and lovingly. Each day strengthens my faith. Each day deepens my sense of safety. Each day confirms that I am cared for. I do not hurry the process of abundance. I honor its perfect timing. I allow it to unfold with grace. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. This truth flows through my thoughts, my choices, and my expectations. It becomes the foundation of my life. I walk forward now with calm confidence. I am provided for. I am guided. I am at peace. And all continues to unfold beautifully. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. I feel this support now, quietly and deeply. There is a sacred sense of safety surrounding my life. It is not dependent on numbers, accounts, or conditions. It comes from knowing that I am held by divine care. Nothing essential can be taken from me. Nothing good is ever withheld. I allow my body to soften. I allow my breath to deepen. I allow my mind to rest in reassurance. I am safe to trust life. I am safe to trust God. I am safe to trust the unfolding of my path. Provision meets me gently. It does not startle or overwhelm me. It arrives in ways that feel kind and manageable. I am supported in ways I can receive with ease. I no longer brace myself against lack. I no longer prepare for disappointment. I expect goodness as my natural state. Divine love surrounds every financial detail of my life. Even what once felt uncertain is now being reordered. What seemed delayed is aligning. What felt confusing is becoming clear. I feel a calm confidence growing within me. It is steady, not loud. It does not demand attention. It simply knows. I am cared for in seen and unseen ways. Assistance comes before I realize I need it. Solutions appear gently and naturally. Help finds me without strain. I trust the wisdom guiding my decisions. I trust the timing of my blessings. I trust the intelligence working on my behalf. Money no longer feels heavy or complicated. It feels neutral, peaceful, and supportive. It moves through my life as a servant of good. I am grateful for the roof over me, for the food that nourishes me, for the comforts that surround me now. Gratitude anchors me in the present moment, where abundance already lives. I release old stories of insecurity. They no longer define me. I am rewriting my experience through faith. Every cell of my being receives the message of safety. Every thought aligns with trust. Every expectation softens into peace. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. This truth becomes my inner shelter. It steadies me in every season. I move forward knowing I am protected, provided for, and deeply loved. All is well. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. I meet this truth with a grateful heart. Gratitude flows through me naturally and quietly. It is not forced or performative. It rises from an awareness that I am already cared for. Even now, blessings surround me in simple and meaningful ways. I give thanks for what is present. I give thanks for what is unfolding. I give thanks for what is already prepared on my behalf. Gratitude steadies my faith. It opens my awareness to divine generosity. It softens my thoughts and aligns me with truth. I notice abundance in the ordinary moments of life, in rest, in nourishment, in warmth and shelter, in kindness freely given and freely received. These small recognitions expand my sense of supply. They remind me that abundance is not distant. It is here, now, and active. I expect good with gentle confidence, not because I demand it, but because divine law is dependable. Good is the natural outcome of trust. I no longer question whether I am worthy of support. I no longer hesitate to receive. I accept abundance as my spiritual inheritance. Money responds to my calm expectation. It comes to me without resistance. It flows in ways that feel orderly and reassuring. There is no shock or strain in receiving more. I am grateful for increase before it appears. I am grateful for stability as it strengthens. I am grateful for overflow as it expresses itself naturally. I allow blessings to arrive in forms I did not anticipate. Divine supply is creative and expansive. It exceeds my limited ideas of how things should happen. I hold a quiet awareness that all needs are met. This awareness becomes my atmosphere. It shapes my choices, my reactions, and my outlook. I release impatience and comparison. What unfolds for me is unique and perfectly timed. I honor my own path. Gratitude keeps me present and peaceful. Expectation keeps me open and hopeful. Together, they form a steady foundation of faith. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. I say thank you in advance, not from urgency, but from trust. I walk forward with a thankful heart and a gentle certainty that more good is always on its way, and I receive it with grace. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. I receive this truth with calm assurance. There is no tension in my receiving. There is no need to justify or explain my good. What comes to me arrives by divine right, through divine order, and for divine purpose. I am comfortable being supported. I am comfortable being provided for. I am comfortable having more than enough. My confidence is gentle and settled. It does not rush ahead. It does not look behind. It stands firmly in the present moment, rooted in faith. I trust myself to handle abundance wisely. I trust my heart to remain generous. I trust my mind to stay aligned with truth. Money flows to me as a friend, not a test. It supports my life and expands my freedom. It allows me to give, to rest, and to enjoy. I do not fear increase. I do not resist ease. I welcome both with humility and gratitude. Divine intelligence guides my actions. I know when to move. I know when to wait. I know when to say yes, and when to remain still. Opportunities come to me naturally. I recognize them with clarity and peace. Nothing meant for me passes me by. I no longer second-guess blessings. I accept them fully and graciously. I allow good to stay. There is a steady flow of support in my life. It does not depend on effort alone. It responds to alignment, trust, and openness. I release the need to control how abundance appears. I allow it to surprise me gently. The universe delights in providing. My sense of worth is anchored in spirit, not in numbers or outcomes. This keeps me balanced and free. Each day, my confidence deepens. I expect things to work out. I expect to be guided. I expect to be supported. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. This belief lives quietly within me. It shapes my experience without effort. I stand now, in calm certainty, open hands, open heart, ready to receive. And I receive with peace. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. This truth is constant, gentle, and unchanging. Abundance is not something I move toward. It is something I live within. It surrounds me now, quietly sustaining every part of my life. There is a loving intelligence maintaining my good. It does not rest. It does not forget. It does not withdraw its care. I am never outside divine provision. I am never separated from supply. Even when I am unaware, even when I am still learning, abundance continues to hold me. I feel a deep assurance settling within my spirit. Not excitement, not urgency, just peace. This peace tells me I am safe. This peace tells me I am guided. This peace tells me that all is arranged in my favor. Money comes and goes in gentle, orderly ways. Needs are met before concern arises. Resources appear when they are required. Life supports life. I no longer measure my security by appearances. I measure it by faith. And my faith is steady and sure. There is nothing fragile about divine abundance. It cannot be lost, depleted, or taken away. It renews itself endlessly. It flows eternally. I relax into this eternal flow. I stop reaching. I stop striving. I allow. I am grateful for the constancy of divine love. I am grateful for the faith that anchors me. I am grateful for the abundance that moves through my life with kindness. Every chapter of my life is supported. Every season has its provision. Every step is accompanied by grace. I trust what is unfolding. I trust what is forming. I trust what is still unseen. Abundance is patient with me. It waits for my awareness. It meets me where I am. I am always supported by unlimited abundance. This is not a hope. This is not a wish. This is a spiritual law. I rest in this knowing now. Deeply, completely. All is provided. All is well. And all will continue to be well. And so it is. Beloved, as these words come to a close, allow yourself to remain in the stillness they have created. There is nothing more to do in this moment. Nothing to figure out. Nothing to make happen. Let the truth you have heard settle gently into your heart. You are always supported by unlimited abundance. Not occasionally. Not someday. Always. Carry this knowing with you as you move through your day. Return to these affirmations whenever you desire reassurance, peace, or grounding. Listen again in the morning to set your tone. Listen again at night to rest in trust. Let these words become familiar companions. If it feels right, take a quiet moment now to give thanks. A simple thank you is enough. Gratitude seals the awareness of divine support. And as you go forward, walk gently. Expect good without strain. Receive without hesitation. Trust without fear. Abundance is constant. It is loving. It is already with you. Rest in this assurance. Live from this truth. And allow life to continue blessing you in perfect and peaceful ways.
Life is a grand and generous menu, and the universe is the perfect waiter. What you ask for, it hears. What you expect, it delivers. The tragedy is not that people are denied their desires, but that they forget how to order. They speak their requests with hesitation, as though wealth is an indulgence they are not worthy of, as though abundance is reserved for someone else. Yet the law of life is clear. You are served what you declare with faith. Think of the last time you ordered a pizza. You didn't whisper, hoping the restaurant might have pity on you. You didn't beg for toppings. You didn't say, "I don't deserve cheese, maybe just a crust, if that's okay." No. You opened the menu, decided what you wanted, and placed the order with confidence. Then you relaxed, knowing it was on the way. You didn't sit by the phone worrying if the delivery driver would find your house. You didn't doubt whether the restaurant could fulfill your request. You trusted the process. Wealth works the same way. The invisible substance of life waits for your clear word. It is as abundant as flour in the bakery, as endless as the dough stretched in the kitchen. Prosperity is not scarce, it is prepared and ready to flow. But it will not come until you call it forth. The moment you declare, "I order wealth, health, joy, and ease," the universe begins assembling your request. The oven is warming, the crust is rising, and the toppings are being arranged exactly as you asked. Too many souls confuse the kitchen with the table. They believe they must labor, sweat, and strive for every crumb. They believe their wealth depends on conditions, on markets, on the permission of others. But the law is simpler than that. The kitchen of spirit is already stocked with infinite supply. All you need is a spoken word of faith, a confident declaration, and a calm expectation that it is yours. When doubt enters, it is as though you keep calling the restaurant to change the order. Maybe I don't want wealth. Maybe I only deserve just enough. Perhaps I'll cancel the whole thing. And so the kitchen never sends it out, or it arrives delayed and half-baked. But when you hold firm to your word, when you say, "I want this, and it is mine," the doorbell rings, and abundance arrives hot, fresh, and perfect. There is no shortage of pizza in the world, and there is no shortage of wealth in the universe. To believe otherwise is to live hungry at a feast. Every person has a seat at the table, every soul is entitled to fullness. But entitlement alone is not enough. You must place your order. You must speak with assurance. You must receive without fear. Life responds not to confusion but to clarity. It is not the timid request that stirs the unseen power, but the calm, expectant word spoken with conviction. To order wealth is no different than ordering a meal, for both are governed by the same law. You decide what you want, you express it with certainty, and then you allow it to be delivered. The invisible storehouse of supply does not ration its blessings, nor does it hide them behind locks and gates. It waits patiently, like a stocked kitchen, brimming with every ingredient you could ever imagine, ready to create the exact form of abundance you choose. But too often, people hesitate, second-guess, or disqualify themselves before they even speak their desire. They sit before the menu of life and whisper, "I don't deserve that," or "It's too much." And in doing so, they send back the possibility before it even reaches the oven. When you order a pizza, you do not beg the restaurant to prepare it. You do not plead for extra cheese, as though you were asking for a miracle. You look at the menu, you decide with confidence, and you state your order. Then you rest in certainty, knowing it will come. You do not pace by the door questioning whether the delivery driver will find you. You do not worry if the kitchen has run out of dough. You trust the process because you know the system works. This is the same trust you must extend to the invisible law of supply. The universe is the kitchen, spirit is the chef, and wealth is always on the menu. Your role is not to wonder how it will be prepared, nor when it will arrive, but to order with faith and then wait in joyful expectation. Wealth is not a distant luxury. It is as natural as bread rising in an oven. Prosperity is the birthright of every soul, not the privilege of a chosen few. The infinite is not limited in its resources. Just as the sun shines without exhaustion and rivers flow without measure, so does the current of abundance flow ceaselessly, waiting to be drawn into form by the one who claims it. Yet so many live as beggars at a banquet. They imagine the table is set only for others. They convince themselves that scarcity is noble or that wanting more is selfish. In truth, to deny wealth is to deny the very principle of life, for life itself expands and expresses through the channel of abundance. To live in lack is to misorder, to refuse to speak clearly, to act as though the kitchen of spirit has run out of food. When you place an order with hesitation, you invite delay. Imagine calling the restaurant and changing your mind again and again. First, you want pepperoni, then perhaps only cheese, then you decide you should not eat pizza at all. The kitchen cannot fulfill such a wavering request. It is the same with wealth. The law of life responds to a firm command, not to a doubtful, shifting mind. When you declare, I order wealth now, I order success now, I order joy now, and when you declare it without apology, the unseen begins to move. Circumstances rearrange. Opportunities appear, doors open. But when you undo your words with fear, perhaps I don't deserve it, maybe it won't come. Maybe I asked for too much. You delay the delivery, or you send it back altogether. The imagination is the menu. It shows you what is possible. Every image of wealth that passes through your mind is a suggestion of what may be yours if you choose it. Yet many treat their imagination as fantasy rather than guidance. They say, it is only a dream, it is not real, and so they never place the order. But the truth is that imagination is spirit's way of showing you what the kitchen can prepare. If you can see it in your mind, it means the ingredients already exist. It means the order can be filled. All that is required is your word, to say, this is what I choose, and this is what I claim, is enough to set the process in motion. Faith is not merely belief, it is certainty. It is knowing that the order is complete the moment you speak it. You do not see the pizza instantly after placing the call, yet you never doubt its arrival. In the same way, you may not see wealth the moment you declare it, but it is already on its way. The crust is being prepared, the sauce is being spread, the toppings are being placed. Invisible hands are arranging the channels through which your prosperity will come. It may travel through business, through ideas, through opportunities, or through unexpected gifts. The form is not yours to dictate. Your task is only to decide what you want and to trust that it is being assembled. Many people sabotage themselves because they stare at the clock, waiting, worrying, doubting. They say, it has not arrived yet. Perhaps it will never come. And so they cancel their own order with disbelief. If only they would rest as calmly as they do when waiting for dinner, their prosperity would arrive with speed. For the law is exact and it never fails. What you order with faith will be delivered. What you cancel with fear will never reach your table. You must remember that wealth is not limited by appearances. A restaurant may seem small, yet behind it is a vast supply of ingredients. The universe may appear restricted by conditions, yet behind all appearances lies infinite substance. If you say, the economy is bad, therefore I cannot prosper, you have placed your faith in appearances rather than in the law. But if you say, I order wealth regardless of appearances, I order abundance regardless of conditions, then you call forth the unseen supply, and it comes to you in unexpected ways. There is no shortage in spirit. There is no lack in the invisible storehouse. Shortage exists only in the minds of those who forget how to order. Wealth is prepared, ready, waiting, like a row of ovens baking countless pizzas at once. Every soul may call for their portion, and every order will be filled. But only the one who asks with assurance, who speaks with confidence, who expects without doubt, will receive in full. Others will sit in hunger, not because the kitchen refused them, but because they never placed their order with faith. The unseen law of life is precision itself, exact as mathematics, unfailing as gravity. Whatever you send forth in word, thought, and feeling becomes the command that the universe obeys. Many imagine wealth as something far away, as though it must be chased, earned with exhaustion, or bargained for through sacrifice. Yet wealth is not a prize given by chance or luck, it is a natural state, summoned by clarity of desire and certainty of expectation. The river of supply is always flowing, and it flows where it is directed. When you turn the channel with your words, the stream obeys. If you say, I order poverty, limitation, lack, through fear and complaint, that is the dish that will be set before you. If you say, I order wealth, I order freedom, I order ease, with unwavering assurance, then prosperity moves to meet you with the same certainty as a meal delivered once it has been ordered. Consider how a restaurant never questions your right to order. The waiter does not ask if you are worthy of a meal. The chef does not withhold ingredients to punish you. The kitchen does not argue that someone else deserves it more. You are served because you placed your order. The universe works with the same impartiality. It does not measure your worthiness, for your worth is inherent. It does not ration supply, for supply is infinite. It does not refuse requests, but it does mirror your faith. When you order with doubt, you create delay. When you order with certainty, you create speed. Life delivers not according to what you plead for, but according to what you expect. The spoken word is the seal on your request. To say, I am wealthy now, is to place your order with the invisible. Yet many cancel their order the very next moment by saying, but how will it come? Perhaps I was wrong to ask. Perhaps I cannot afford it. This is no different than calling the restaurant, placing your order, and then phoning again to say, cancel it. I don't believe you can deliver. No kitchen can serve a meal that is endlessly sent back. No universe can deliver abundance to one who speaks yes and no in the same breath. Imagination is the sacred menu of spirit. Every vision of prosperity that arises within you is a glimpse of what already exists in potential, waiting for you to call it forth. If you can see yourself living in ease, if you can picture wealth surrounding you, that is spirit whispering, this is available. Choose it. But imagination alone is not enough. You must claim it aloud, with certainty, without apology. The law of supply answers not to half-hearted wishes but to the strong, decisive word. To hesitate is to leave the order unspoken, and the kitchen of the universe prepares nothing for the one who never asks. Faith is not blind hope, it is knowledge of unseen fulfillment. When you place an order for food, you do not need to see the oven to trust that the meal is being prepared. You do not stand in the kitchen to verify each step. You trust the process, and that trust allows you to rest. So it must be with wealth. Once the word is spoken, the preparation has begun. The channels are moving, the conditions are aligning, the opportunities are being drawn to you. Your wealth is assembling behind the scenes the very moment you declare it. To doubt is to interrupt, to trust is to receive. Some say, but I have asked, and nothing has come. Yet when examined, it is found that they have asked with words of faith, but cancelled with words of fear. They said, I order wealth, but followed it with, I cannot afford anything, I am always struggling. Money is hard to come by. And so their wealth was sent back with every denial. The law cannot be fooled. It gives you exactly what you continuously declare, not what you declare once, and then contradict 100 times. If you continually affirm lack, then lack is what the waiter delivers. But if you continually affirm wealth, holding fast without wavering, then wealth must arrive, for the law is unchangeable and exact. Wealth is not earned by toil, it is called by word. To work without aligning your word is to labor endlessly with crumbs for reward. To speak clearly and work in harmony with your word is to draw streams of abundance with little strain. The invisible law magnifies your efforts when your words and beliefs are in agreement with prosperity. It multiplies results, brings unexpected channels, and opens paths you could not have created alone. Just as a pizza may be delivered swiftly to your door, wealth may arrive through means beyond your imagination. The law finds the fastest route once you have spoken the order with certainty. The world is filled with those who envy the prosperous, imagining them to be lucky, favored, or undeserving. Yet in truth, they are often those who have learned, whether consciously or not, to order without apology. They speak their desire with confidence. They expect fulfillment without doubt, and life mirrors their conviction. The same power is available to all, but few dare to use it. They fear being bold, they fear asking too much, they fear appearing greedy. But the universe does not judge desire, it simply fills the order placed. To ask for wealth is no more selfish than to ask for bread, for both are necessary for life. The law is impersonal, and the menu is endless. You cannot exhaust it by asking, nor deprive another by receiving. When you believe supply is scarce, you create scarcity for yourself. When you believe supply is infinite, you open the channel of infinite flow. The belief you hold is the signal you send, and the signal determines the response. To say, I cannot prosper in this economy, is to order lack from the kitchen of spirit. To say, I prosper regardless of appearances, wealth comes to me from every direction, is to order abundance from the same source. Appearances may say one thing, but appearances are shadows, not substance. The unseen substance of life is infinite, and it answers to your word, not to the news, not to statistics, not to circumstances. Every time you speak of limitation, you extend your hand to receive it. Every time you affirm prosperity, you extend your hand to receive that. The waiter brings what you name. The kitchen prepares what you request. Spirit does not choose for you, you choose, and Spirit fulfills. If you are dissatisfied with what is on your table, it is not because the supply is poor but because the order has been mistaken. The remedy is not to scold the waiter nor complain of the kitchen, but to place a new order with clarity and faith. The law of abundance is effortless in its operation, yet people make it heavy with their doubts, their fears, and their endless reasoning. The truth is simple: what you see in your mind, what you speak with your lips, what you hold in your heart with conviction, becomes the pattern the universe obeys. There is no confusion in spirit, no delay except that which is created by the wavering of human thought. Life is ready to serve swiftly, just as a restaurant is ready to prepare any item from its menu as soon as the order is given. But imagine how strange it would be to enter a restaurant, sit down with the menu before you, and yet refuse to order because you are afraid the chef might laugh at you, or the kitchen might be too small to prepare your request. Still, this is how most souls approach the abundance of life. They see visions of wealth, success, joy, and expansion, yet they shut the menu saying, "It cannot be for me." Perhaps only crumbs are permitted. They sit hungry at a table overflowing with possibility. To order wealth is to exercise the same calm authority with which you would order your evening meal. There is no hesitation, no sense of unworthiness, no apology in your tone. You simply decide, declare, and allow. The universe does not need to be begged, it needs only to be instructed. You are not asking a reluctant giver, you are directing an infinite law. When you say, I order wealth now, you have already set invisible forces in motion. Supply begins to arrange itself, opportunities move into position. Doors begin to open where before there were only walls. The law does not resist you, it aligns to you. Your word is the trigger, your faith is the magnet. Your imagination is the blueprint. Think of how naturally you trust when you place a simple order for food. You do not follow the waiter into the kitchen to check whether the cook understands your request. You do not wring your hands wondering whether the oven will work this time. You order, you sit, you speak with your friends, you occupy yourself with joy, and soon enough your meal arrives. What if you could meet the question of wealth in the same way? What if you could speak your word and then rest, knowing that just as surely as the food is on its way, so too is your abundance? The more relaxed your faith, the quicker the delivery. Anxiety does not speed the process, it interrupts it. Doubt does not add toppings to your order, it cancels it altogether. The spoken word is not a casual thing. Every statement of lack is an order for more lack. Every complaint about shortage is a command for more shortage. The law hears only what is spoken with conviction, whether positive or negative. To say, I never have enough money, nothing ever works for me, wealth always escapes me, is to summon a meal of struggle again and again. The waiter does not question whether you meant it, he simply delivers. The universe does not argue with your declaration, it fulfills it with precision. If you do not like what you are served, change the order. Place a new request. Cancel the old habits of speech and thought that have kept you fed with crumbs, and instead say with authority, I order wealth, I order plenty, I order ease, and I expect it to arrive. Imagination shows you what is possible, but your spoken word brings it into form. Many admire the pictures in their mind yet never claim them. They daydream of abundance, but their words contradict the dream. They speak of bills, of struggle, of limits, and so the kitchen of spirit receives two orders at once, one for prosperity and one for lack, and the result is confusion and delay. Just as you cannot ask for a pizza and then insist on receiving a salad, you cannot declare prosperity and then insist on limitation. The law obeys the clearest order, and most often the clearest order is the one repeated with the strongest emotion. This is why many live and struggle. They dream of wealth in silence, but cry aloud of lack every day. The stronger order is the one the universe must serve. Faith is the great confirmer. Faith says, what I have spoken is already mine. Faith is not waiting to see before believing. It is resting in knowing that unseen forces are already preparing the way. Just as you trust the cook to prepare the meal, so you must trust the invisible to prepare your wealth. You do not stand impatiently in the kitchen doorway. You take your seat and ready yourself to receive. The one who trusts most fully receives most swiftly, because the law flows without obstruction through calm expectation. Worry, fear, and doubt are obstructions in the channel. Remove them, and abundance flows as naturally as water downhill. You must also learn to resist the temptation to explain or justify your order. If you ask for wealth and others say, you are unrealistic, you do not deserve that, you should be satisfied with less. Do not let their voices cancel your declaration. No diner explains to the waiter why they deserve their meal. They simply place the order. In the same way, you need no justification before the universe. You are not required to prove your worthiness. Your worthiness is already established by the fact that you exist. The very breath of life within you is proof that you are meant to live fully, and fullness includes abundance. If you were meant for lack, you would not be given imagination. Imagination is the evidence of your right to choose more. There is a danger in overthinking the process. Some imagine they must know the exact path through which wealth will come. They say, if I cannot see how, I cannot believe. But no diner insists on knowing each step of the recipe before placing an order. You do not need to know how the flour was milled, how the oven was heated, how the dough will rise. You trust that the chef knows, and you expect the result. The same law applies to wealth. You need not dictate the path, you need only state the result. The how is handled by Spirit, the unseen arranger of all things. To insist on knowing the path is to step into the kitchen and interfere with the cook. Trust is the key. The less you meddle, the smoother the delivery. Some believe they must earn the right to abundance through suffering or sacrifice. They cling to the belief that only through endless labor will prosperity arrive. Yet the law does not require suffering, it requires clarity. The waiter does not ask you to wash dishes before bringing your meal. The kitchen does not demand you prove yourself worthy of food. You are served because you asked. Wealth comes the same way. The belief in struggle is a false law created by human thought, not a decree of spirit. Break that false belief by speaking a new word. I receive with ease, I prosper without struggle. Wealth is mine by divine right. The moment you declare it, the false law begins to dissolve, and the true law takes its place. Every spoken word is a seed. Some plant seeds of prosperity, others plant seeds of poverty, but the soil of the universe does not discriminate. It grows whatever is planted. If you scatter weeds with your speech, you cannot complain when weeds appear in your garden. If you scatter wealth with your declarations, you will reap wealth in return. The choice of seed is always yours. The harvest is always true to the planting. Speak wealth, expect wealth, and wealth must come, for the law cannot contradict itself. The universe is a ceaseless giver, and yet the majority of people walk through life as if it were a reluctant master holding back its treasures. The truth is quite the opposite. Life is generous beyond measure, overflowing in every direction, but it requires your recognition, your spoken command, your acceptance. Just as no restaurant prepares a dish without an order, no abundance flows without a declaration. The menu of spirit is infinite, but it is useless to the one who never opens their mouth to claim what is theirs. Imagine sitting before an endless feast, tables heavy with food, dishes shining with variety, and yet keeping silent, hoping perhaps a plate will fall into your lap by accident. This is how many live, surrounded by potential wealth yet refusing to place their order. When you say, "I order wealth," you activate the law in the simplest way. There is no complexity in spirit, no secret code, no hidden door. The door has always been open, and the key has always been your word. You speak, and it is so. You declare, and the unseen forces of life begin to assemble your order. To hesitate is to delay, to doubt is to cancel. To contradict is to confuse the process. When you place your order for food, you do not look at the waiter and say, "Bring me a meal." But I doubt you can, and if it takes too long I will cancel, and if it costs too much I will refuse it. No, you decide clearly. You speak with confidence, and then you wait in ease, trusting that it is on the way. Wealth follows the same pattern. It is not for you to figure out the kitchen, it is for you to order and expect. The trouble is that people are trained from childhood to speak more about lack than about abundance. They repeat phrases of limitation as if they were prayers. They say, "Money doesn't grow on trees, life is hard, nothing comes easy. You must struggle to survive." Each of these words is an order placed in the universal kitchen. Each phrase is a seed sown in the garden of the unseen. And so the waiter brings more struggle, the soil grows more weeds of limitation, and the soul continues to wonder why its plate is always bare. The answer is not that supply is scarce, but that the orders have been mistaken. The remedy is not to complain of hunger, but to speak a new word, one of abundance, prosperity, and ease. Imagination is the great preview. Spirit whispers possibilities through the pictures you see in your mind. When you imagine yourself in wealth, in freedom, in joy, it is not fantasy but guidance. It is the menu being shown to you. The tragedy is that many see the menu and call it a dream rather than a choice. They look at the picture of abundance and say, "That is too much for me. I could never order that, it is reserved for others." And so they never claim what was already theirs. If you can imagine it, it exists in potential. And if it exists in potential, it is waiting to be spoken into form. The only requirement is your command. Faith is the strength of your order. To say, "I order wealth," with fear in your heart is like whispering your request to a noisy room. It may or may not be heard. But to say it with calm certainty, with the conviction that it is already yours, is to speak directly into the ear of the law. Faith is the vibration that seals the request. Faith is the confidence that frees you from anxiety, while the unseen prepares your order. You do not see the meal the moment you ask, but you trust that it is on its way. In the same way, you may not see wealth the moment you declare it, but already the wheels are turning, the opportunities are aligning, the channels are opening. Your declaration has been heard, and the delivery has begun. Many cancel their own orders because they do not understand this principle. They say, "I order wealth," and then the next moment they speak of poverty. They say, "I am prosperous," and then they complain of bills. They say, "I expect abundance," and then they confess fear of losing everything. The universe hears the strongest order, and the strongest order is the one repeated most often with the greatest emotion. Fear spoken with passion is more powerful than prosperity whispered without conviction. This is why lives seem to be filled with lack. Not because the law refuses, but because fear is spoken louder than faith. To change your life, you must change your speech. Every word is a command, every sentence is an order. To say, "I cannot afford it," is to order more of the same. To say, "Wealth flows to me in countless ways," is to order a new dish from the unseen kitchen. To say, money is scarce, is to call forth scarcity. To say, I prosper regardless of appearances, is to summon prosperity. The waiter of the universe never questions whether you deserve your order, never debates whether it is right or wrong, never argues with your choice. It simply delivers. The question is not whether life is generous, but whether you are clear in your order. The greatest mistake is to look to appearances for confirmation. People say, I will believe I am wealthy once I see it. But this is like saying, I will place my order after the food arrives. It is backwards. The seeing follows the speaking, not the other way around. Faith speaks first, appearances follow after. When you declare prosperity in the face of lack, you place the true order. When you declare abundance despite the evidence of poverty, you set the law in motion. Appearances are shadows. The substance is unseen. Shadows change, substance remains. Place your trust in the unseen, and the seen will soon match it. You must also learn to rest after placing your order. The restless mind wants to interfere with the kitchen, to dictate how the order should be prepared, to worry whether the ingredients exist, to demand a timeline. But the one who trusts simply orders, and then waits with joy. They fill their time with gratitude, with expectation, with readiness to receive. They do not hover in anxiety, they do not rehearse their doubts. They do not cancel their request with fear. They rest in the knowledge that what they have spoken is already on its way. This rest is not laziness. It is power. It is the calm that keeps the channel open and allows supply to flow freely. Wealth is as natural as the rising of the sun, as simple as the falling of rain, as effortless as the blossoming of a flower. It is not a rare privilege. It is the natural state of life when you align with the law. The tree does not beg for fruit, it simply expresses what is within. The river does not plead for water, it flows because it is its nature. You are no different. Wealth is not something added to you. It is something expressed through you when you allow it. And allowance begins with the spoken word, clear, confident, unwavering. The law of life is exact, and it cannot fail, yet people live as though it were uncertain, as though blessings might arrive only by luck or by chance. In truth, there is no such thing as luck. There is only law, and the law gives each according to their word. What you declare with confidence becomes the form that appears. What you continually affirm, whether of wealth or of lack, becomes the reality that sits before you. The universe is impartial. It is like a faithful waiter, serving without judgment. Never questioning whether your request is wise, never refusing because it seems too large, never withholding because it doubts your worthiness. It does not argue, it delivers. The only question is whether you are clear in your order, whether you speak with faith or with fear, whether your words call forth prosperity or limitation. Imagine once again the simple act of ordering a meal. The menu is before you, filled with endless options. You choose, you declare, and then you wait in ease. You do not ask the waiter to bring you something small because you feel unworthy of a full plate. You do not say, bring me whatever you think I deserve. You make your choice, and you expect to be served. The same law applies to wealth. You must choose, you must declare, and you must expect. Yet so many refuse to choose. They look at the menu of life and say, I will take whatever comes. And then they are surprised when they receive crumbs instead of a feast. Others choose but then immediately doubt, changing their order again and again until nothing arrives. The law cannot deliver a confused order. It responds only to clarity, spoken with assurance. Every thought is a silent request, every word a formal order. When you say, I cannot afford it, you have just placed an order for more lack. When you say, wealth flows to me now, you have placed an order for abundance. When you say, nothing ever works out, the kitchen of the universe begins preparing another dish of disappointment. When you say, everything is working for my good, prosperity is mine, the invisible servants of law begin assembling a banquet of blessings. Words are not empty. They are creative forces, and they shape the very conditions of your life. Imagination provides the vision, but the word seals the order. To picture wealth in your mind is the beginning, but unless you speak it into form, the image remains a possibility, never a reality. Imagination is spirit's way of showing you what exists in the warehouse of supply. If you can imagine it, then the ingredients are already present. But the chef does not begin cooking until the order is placed. In the same way, the infinite waits for your command. Dreams without declarations are like menace admired but never spoken aloud. The food is there, the supply is ready, but nothing comes to the table until the word is given. Faith is the guarantee. Faith says, "What I order is already mine." It does not ask how. It does not demand to know the path, it simply knows that the law is perfect and unfailing. Just as you do not doubt that the oven is hot. Just as you do not doubt that the cook understands how to prepare a meal. So you must not doubt the ability of the universe to fulfill your request. The form is not your concern. You do not instruct the chef on how to mix the dough. You do not insist on watching the sauce spread. You do not demand to see the toppings laid out. You trust the kitchen to do its work. In the same way, you need not dictate how your wealth will appear. It may come through business, through opportunity, through gifts, through sudden ideas, through unexpected doors. The path is not yours to control. Your task is to declare and to expect. Many delay their good by staring at appearances. They say, "I will believe in wealth once I see it." But this is like refusing to place an order until the food has already arrived. The law does not work that way. First the word, then the manifestation. First the order, then the delivery. Faith speaks in advance. Appearances follow after. To wait for evidence before declaring is to wait forever, for the evidence can only appear after the word is spoken. To declare wealth in the face of lack is the act of power. To speak prosperity when bills surround you is the true command of faith. Appearances are shadows, they have no substance except what you give them. Substance is unseen, waiting to take form through your declaration. The one who complains of hunger, yet never orders, cannot blame the restaurant. The one who speaks endlessly of poverty, yet never declares wealth, cannot blame the law. The responsibility is yours. You are the chooser. You are the declarer, you are the commander. Life does not choose for you, it reflects you. It does not decide on your behalf, it waits for your decision. If you live in lack, it is not because abundance was withheld, but because your word withheld it. If you live in plenty, it is because your word called it forth. The law does not discriminate, it obeys. The danger lies in careless speech. Many speak without thought, repeating phrases of limitation as if they were harmless. They say, "I'm always broke, money slips through my fingers, life is unfair, nothing comes easy." They believe these are casual statements, yet each one is an order sealed by emotion. The law takes them as commands and delivers accordingly. Then they wonder why their table is filled with lack. If they only realized the power of their words, they would guard their speech as a treasure. They would refuse to declare anything they do not wish to see. They would speak only of wealth, of prosperity, of plenty, of success, knowing that each word is a seed sown in the soil of the unseen. You must learn to speak as if the wealth were already here. You must declare with joy, with certainty, with gratitude. Gratitude is the seasoning that quickens the order. To say, "I thank the universe for my wealth," is to declare that it is already yours. Gratitude carries faith, and faith speeds the delivery. The one who thanks before seeing receives sooner than the one who waits to see before thanking. Gratitude is the song of certainty, the fragrance of faith. It says, "The order has been placed, the meal is already mine, I rejoice in it now." A wealth is not about struggle or strain. It is about alignment with law. The tree does not labor to produce fruit, it simply expresses its nature. The river does not force itself to flow. It simply moves because it is its essence. You do not need to wrestle wealth from the hands of the universe. You need only to declare, to align, and to receive. Your declaration opens the channel, your faith keeps it clear, your gratitude quickens the flow. The law does the rest. Every word we speak is a seed sown into the invisible. The soil of spirit knows no waste, it brings forth exactly what is planted. Some plant weeds of doubt, fear, and lack, and wonder why their garden grows wild with thorns. Others, conscious of the law, scatter words of abundance, faith, and certainty, and find their paths paved with gold. The tongue is not idle, it is a wand, and with every decree, one sets the unseen forces in motion. The world calls money a struggle, it says, "Work by the sweat of your brow and you may earn a little." But divine law says, "Speak, and it is done. Command, and it comes." For money is only a symbol, a token of circulation. It flows as the river flows, as freely as the air we breathe. When the mind clutches and the hand closes, the stream seems to stop. But the truth is there is no stop. There is only a man or woman standing with their back to the river, refusing to turn. So we are told, say this law. Declare your right. Do not whisper your desire like a beggar. Speak it as one who knows the kingdom is already theirs. The gold in the mountain, the bills in the bank, the coins in 1,000 pockets, all wait to be drawn by the magnet of your word. The supply is not limited, nor is it earned by toil alone. It answers to the vibration of command. Some will say, "But how can I take money into my own hands without schemes, without struggle, without the pushing of the world?" The answer is simple: by aligning with the higher law, which never fails. When you affirm, "I am a channel of wealth. I am supplied in all my needs. Money comes to me through expected and unexpected avenues, and I hold it joyfully in my hands," you are not creating something new. You are uncovering what was hidden, calling forth what has always belonged to you. Every fear of poverty, every anxious glance at a purse, is a shadow blocking the sun. The law has no poverty in it. The law is rich, radiant, and immediate. You are not here to scrape and scramble. You are here to demonstrate the treasure house of the Spirit, to prove that words are substance, that faith is the hand that reaches out and takes. So then, say this law. Stand where you are and decree, "I now receive money in perfect ways. The channels are open, the stream flows, and I take it with thanksgiving." Imagine the coin already in your palm, the note already in your pocket, the overflowing purse already your possession. Act as if it were done, for it is done. The law never hears in the future, it hears only now. And to the voice that speaks with conviction, it gives without measure. Words are never idle things. They move as currents in the unseen, setting into motion forces we cannot see with the physical eye yet feel with the soul. Every word that leaves the lips is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the infinite, and the harvest always matches the seed. If one sows the seed of doubt, they reap confusion. If one sows complaint, they harvest more reasons to complain. If one sows despair, the garden grows heavy with thorns and choking vines. But if one sows words of faith, words of radiant expectation, words that carry the fragrance of prosperity and joy, then the ground bursts forth in a rich harvest of supply, harmony, and opportunity. The law never falters, it never forgets. It gives back to each according to the word spoken. Most people speak without knowing the creative weight of their speech. They say, "I am poor, I am tired, I never get a chance." Money always slips away, and they marvel that life gives them exactly what they declare. They forget the tongue is not a toy, it is a tool. It is a key to the invisible vault. When you speak of lack, you close the vault doors with your own words. When you speak of abundance, you swing them wide open and call the treasure to appear. Every casual word, every repeated phrase, every story you tell yourself about your life is a seed going into the ground of spirit. There is no idle chatter in the kingdom of law. Everything is creative, everything is recorded, everything is answered. Words are seeds because they carry vibration. A seed of corn does not look like a stalk, yet hidden within it is the form and shape of the harvest. So too, a word may seem small and fleeting, but it holds in it the pattern of the experience it will grow into. When someone says, "I can never afford that," they plant a seed of limitation. It may feel harmless, but it grows into closed doors and empty purses. When someone declares, "Money comes to me freely and easily," they plant a seed of circulation. It grows into open channels, surprising gifts, and checks arriving in the mail. The difference lies not in circumstance, but in the seed sown. Think of the farmer. He does not curse the earth and demand it bring forth harvest without sowing. He knows the soil is obedient, that it will return whatever is planted. He sows corn and expects corn, he sows wheat and expects wheat. He does not scatter thorns and then weep when the field cuts his hands. Yet so many scatter words of want and wonder why lack greets them at every turn. The law is not unjust, it is exact. What goes in must come out. Words are the packets of seed that decide the crop of life. This is why it is said, guard the tongue, for it carries the power of life and death. Not death of the body, but death of joy, of opportunity, of supply, when words of lack are sown. Not life as a mere beating heart, but life as expansion, growth, and abundance, when words of prosperity are spoken. The tongue is the rudder of the ship, small yet mighty, turning the whole course of a life. If one continually says, I am guided, I am supplied, I am prospered, the ship moves steadily towards safe harbors of wealth and opportunity. If one continually says, I never have enough, the ship drifts toward rocky shoals of struggle and debt. Words shape the voyage. It is important to understand that the soil of spirit is always neutral. It does not choose for you, it only produces what is planted. Just as the earth will give thorns or roses depending on the seed, so the law gives lack or abundance depending on the spoken word. Spirit does not judge, it only reflects. This is why idle talk of poverty is so dangerous. Many people say things lightly, not realizing that every repetition etches a deeper groove in consciousness. Repeated words become belief, and belief becomes form. The casual complaint becomes a habit, the habit becomes conviction, and conviction draws the very thing complained of. It begins with words. The wise one plants carefully. They use words as gardeners use precious seeds, not scattering carelessly, but placing them with intention. They say, I am prosperous in all my ways. Even if the purse feels light, they say, everything I desire is on its way to me. Even if appearances seem barren. They speak with faith, not because they see the harvest, but because they know the law of sowing and reaping cannot fail. The harvest is inevitable when the seed is good. The tongue that speaks abundance waters the ground daily with living vibrations. The magic lies in the consistency. A seed planted once may sprout, but it must be nurtured with continual affirmations. Each word is a drop of water, a ray of sunlight to the seed of prosperity. If one speaks abundance in the morning, but complains of bills in the afternoon, they are watering with sunlight and poison alternately, and the growth is stunted. To see the full bloom, one must persist in sowing only good seed, only prosperous words, only affirmations of wealth and ease. When this persistence is maintained, the subconscious accepts it as truth, and the outer life reshapes itself to reflect it. Consider the child who speaks boldly without fear. They say, I will be rich, or I will have this toy, and they expect the universe to comply. Their words are seeds planted in innocent faith, and often the thing comes to them in surprising ways. Adults, hardened by doubt, plant seeds with hesitation, watering them with disbelief until nothing grows. To reclaim prosperity, one must return to the childlike power of words, spoken with simple certainty. It is not effort that produces the harvest, it is alignment with the law. One need not push or scheme. They must only sow rightly and trust the soil. Every spoken word of prosperity calls forth unseen workers, opening channels, moving circumstances, arranging opportunities. The world may see coincidence, but the wise one knows it is the outworking of seeds sown long before. The law is perfect, exact, and tireless in its execution. Thus, words are not mere sounds, they are forces. They carry within them the design of the future. To speak lack is to order lack, to speak wealth is to summon wealth. The moment the tongue releases a word, the unseen begins its work. Seeds are sown every hour, every day. And life is nothing more than the garden each person has spoken into being. To know this is to hold the key to transformation. For one may at any moment choose to sow new seed, to change the harvest of tomorrow by the words spoken today. Money is a symbol of circulation. a visible sign of an invisible current that moves endlessly, like rivers flowing into oceans, like the breath moving in and out without strain. When people say that money is hard, that money is scarce, that it must be gripped tightly or it will vanish, they are turning against the current and creating dams within themselves. They forget that money is not stagnant substance but flowing energy, and energy never ceases to move. It is meant to circulate as blood circulates through the body, as sap rises through the tree, as tides ebb and flow. The universe is circulation itself, and money is only one of its many channels. The tragedy of most lives is not that money is absent, but that circulation is blocked by fear. Fear makes the hand close tight, fear makes the heart shrink, fear makes the mind whisper, "There is not enough." The moment fear speaks, the flow seems to dry up, for the individual has stepped out of alignment with the natural stream. But the stream itself has never ceased. It is infinite, eternal, inexhaustible. There is as much money in the world as there is water in the ocean, and like the ocean, it is not confined to one shore. It moves, it spreads, it returns. To understand this is to rest in the truth that money cannot be lost, it can only be refused. When one releases the clutch of fear and opens to circulation, money moves as easily as breath. Just as the lungs do not hoard one breath, but release it to make room for the next, so must money be allowed to come and go. To hold it in fear is like holding one breath and refusing to exhale, eventually suffocation comes. But when money is allowed to flow, spent joyfully, given freely, received gratefully, it multiplies, it returns, it gathers speed. The circulation grows wider and deeper, and one finds themselves living in abundance without strain. Many people believe that money is earned only by sweat and struggle, but this belief is the voice of the world, not the voice of the law. Money is the outer token of circulation, and circulation obeys vibration, not toil. The man who labors in bitterness, believing he is underpaid and unworthy, often finds himself living hand to mouth, no matter the hours he spends. The one who works with joy, declaring constantly, "I am a magnet for prosperity, money comes to me in countless ways," finds doors opening, opportunities arising, and streams of wealth flowing to him beyond the scope of wages. The difference lies in the vibration. One aligns with circulation, the other resists it. Money is not meant to be a master but a servant. It is not meant to be worshipped nor despised. It is a medium, a bridge, a carrier of circulation, no different than electricity lighting a lamp or water turning a mill. When people call money evil, they cut themselves off from the stream, as though damming a river, and then weeping for thirst. When people cling to money in worship, they stagnate, as though hoarding water in a jar until it grows fall. The wise attitude is neutrality, seeing money as a river that must be honored by letting it flow. Spend it with joy and it returns. Give it with faith and it multiplies. Receive it with gratitude and it circulates more freely. The proof of circulation is seen everywhere in nature. The trees release oxygen, the lungs receive it, the breath goes back into the air. The earth sends rain to the sea rises in vapor, clouds form and water returns to the earth. The sun gives light, plants absorb it. Animals eat the plants, and life continues in endless circulation. Money is a mirror of this same eternal law. It is not hoarded by the universe. It is passed along, exchanged, transformed, and renewed. Those who step into alignment with this truth find money moving toward them from unexpected channels, as though invisible currents bring gifts to their door. The sense of lack comes only when circulation is resisted. A person who fears bills, who dreads expenses, who clings to every coin as though it were their last, sends out a vibration of resistance. They are like a man standing in the middle of a flowing stream, clutching a handful of water while refusing to dip again. The stream keeps moving, but he insists it has dried. Another, standing in the same stream, opens his hands freely, scooping, releasing, scooping again. His supply is endless because he trusts circulation. The stream is impartial, it serves according to openness. To align with circulation, one must change their words and feelings around money. Instead of saying, "Money goes out faster than it comes in," they must say, money flows to me and through me in perfect balance. Instead of saying, I cannot afford this, they must declare, my supply is limitless, and I always have what I need. Instead of spending with dread, they must spend with joy, blessing the money as it goes, knowing it carries the seed of return. Every word spoken, every thought entertained, either tightens or loosens the channel of circulation. The joy of circulation is that it does not depend on human effort alone. The law does not ask, how hard did you work? It asks only, what vibration have you sown? There are countless stories of people receiving unexpected gifts, inheritances, opportunities, and surprises, not because they labored beyond strength, but because they aligned with the circulation of spirit. They sowed seeds of generosity, of gratitude, of faith, and the stream responded by widening its flow. Others who labor without joy find their channels narrow, their supply scarce, not because they lack effort, but because they resist the law of circulation with fear and complaint. When one understands circulation, there is no fear of spending, no fear of giving, no fear of releasing money. They know that every dollar released is like a seed scattered, destined to return multiplied. Just as the farmer does not weep when planting seeds in the ground, but rejoices in expectation of the harvest, so the wise one does not cling in fear when money goes out but blesses its journey, knowing it must circle back in greater measure. This attitude creates freedom, ease, and constant flow. Circulation is not limited to money alone, it is the principle of life itself. The one who gives love freely receives love abundantly. The one who shares kindness is surrounded by kindness. The one who praises finds themselves praised. Money is only one expression of this universal law, but it is often the clearest mirror of how one relates to circulation. If a person fears money, clings to it, curses it, they reveal their relationship with life itself as one of resistance. If they allow money to flow joyfully, they show their trust in life's endless current. Thus, money as circulation is not a lesson in finance, but a lesson in faith. It teaches that the universe holds nothing back, that all things move in rhythm, that every outflow prepares for an inflow, and every inflow invites another outflow. To trust this rhythm is to live free from fear of poverty, free from the illusion of lack, resting in the certainty that circulation never ceases. The stream flows, the current moves, the river carries all who open their hands to it. To speak with authority is to remember that the voice is not a mere vibration of air, but a decree to the unseen, a command that sets in motion powers beyond the visible world. Words spoken without conviction carry little weight, like a feather cast into the wind, drifting and scattered. But words spoken as law, words spoken with certainty and authority, carry the force of creation itself. They impress the subconscious, they summon the invisible, they draw substance into form. Authority is not loudness, it is not forcefulness of tone, it is inner knowing. The calm assurance that what is spoken has already been received in the invisible, and is merely awaiting its manifestation in the visible. When one claims wealth, they must claim it as their rightful inheritance, not as a beggar asking alms. To beg is to affirm separation, to say, I do not have, but maybe I will be given. To command is to affirm possession, to say, I already have, and it is now appearing. The authority of the word transforms desire into demonstration. Without authority, words remain wishes. With authority, they become decrees. The universe does not respond to wavering requests, it responds to the tone of certainty, the vibration of unshakable faith. Every soul is heir to the infinite treasury of spirit. Wealth is not given to a select few, it belongs to all who know the law of claiming. But claiming must be done with the voice of authority. A child of a king does not plead for bread at the table, they sit and eat. Knowing the food is theirs by right, so too, one must speak to money, and to supply not as an outsider but as an heir. When affirmations are spoken with hesitation, as though one is unsure if they will be answered, the current remains weak. When affirmations are spoken as though the matter were already settled, the current rushes to fulfill. Authority closes the gap between the invisible and the visible. To speak with authority is to deny appearances. Appearances often whisper lack, debt, emptiness of purse, unpaid bills, barren accounts. If one speaks according to appearances, they bind themselves to the very lack they see. But the one who speaks with authority ignores appearances and declares truth. They say, "My supply is abundant, money flows to me. I hold it in my hands now," even when the evidence of the senses says otherwise. Authority is not moved by appearances. It speaks the unseen as though it were already here. It is the voice of the master, not the servant, commanding the outer to obey the inner. Consider how often people speak without authority about their finances. They say, "I hope something comes in," or "maybe things will improve," or "if I am lucky, money might appear." Such words are powerless because they are spoken from doubt. They carry no vibration of certainty. So the universe has nothing to work with. Compare this with the person who says, "Money is flowing to me now, opportunities are opening. I am prospered beyond measure." These words, spoken with authority, carry the vibration of command. They tell the unseen to take shape, and it must obey. Authority comes from alignment with the higher law. It is not personal force or willpower. To will something by strain is to fight the current, but to speak with authority is to align with the current and direct it. Authority is the voice of the law itself spoken through the individual. When one realizes that the spirit within is the source of all supply, they no longer hesitate. They know that to speak is to call forth what is already theirs. Authority is born of union with this truth, and once born, it cannot be shaken by appearances or doubt. The vibration of authority is felt within the words. When affirmations are spoken without conviction, they may sound correct but lack power. The mind still doubts, the heart still fears, and the words are like hollow shells. But when authority is present, the words vibrate with substance. They are alive, magnetic, charged with energy. The subconscious accepts them instantly, and the outer world begins to shift. Authority is not repetition alone, it is the spirit behind the repetition. One sentence spoken with authority is worth more than 1,000 weak phrases murmured without faith. Authority is also persistence. To speak once and then fall back into fear is to weaken the current. To speak again and again, always with certainty, always with the tone of command, is to build momentum until the unseen crystallizes into form. Just as a king does not repeat a decree because he doubts it will be carried out, but only because it must be enforced in every corner, so the individual repeats affirmations not from fear, but from reinforcement of authority. Each repetition strengthens the vibration until manifestation is inevitable. To develop authority, one must train the tongue to speak only truth. Never lack idle words of poverty weaken authority. When a person jokes, "I'm always broke," or sighs, "I can't afford it," they give power to weakness. Authority requires discipline, the refusal to let any word of lack cross the lips. Instead, every word must be rich, strong, filled with certainty of abundance. Over time, this discipline builds inner conviction, and conviction radiates through every affirmation. Authority is not merely adopted, it is cultivated by practice. Speaking with authority also means speaking as if the thing is already accomplished. One must not say, "I will be wealthy," for that places wealth in the future, always out of reach. Authority speaks in the present tense. "I am wealthy, I am supplied. I hold the money in my hands." The law hears only now, never tomorrow. To speak in the future is to postpone forever. To speak in the present is to command manifestation. Authority knows no delay, it knows only the eternal now. And it calls forth supply into the moment of now. There is power in the spoken word when it carries vision. Authority is not cold repetition. It is the fire of imagination united with speech. When one says, "I have money in abundance," they must feel it, picture it, embody it. The voice carries this vision, and the unseen responds. Words spoken without vision are flat, but words spoken with inner sight are alive. Authority is the union of word and image, voice and vision, thought and feeling. Together they create a vibration too strong to be denied. When words are spoken with authority, the very atmosphere shifts. Others feel it, though they may not understand why. The person who speaks with authority radiates confidence, assurance, calm dominion. They walk as one who knows the wealth of the kingdom is already theirs. Their voice carries weight. Their declarations stir faith in others. Their presence itself becomes magnetic. Authority is contagious. It awakens prosperity in those who hear it. To speak with authority is to become not only a magnet for wealth, but also a beacon, showing others that abundance is their rightful inheritance as well. Fear is the great thief of supply. It hides behind the face of prudence, it whispers in the voice of caution, it dresses itself as wisdom, but in truth it is the shadow that blocks the flow of abundance. Fear says, "There is not enough," and instantly the channel narrows. Fear says, "What if I lose what little I have?" and instantly the hand closes tight, cutting off circulation. Fear says, "Money is hard to come by," and instantly the current slows to a trickle. Fear is not power in itself, it is only a negation of power, but because it blinds the mind, it seems to control. Where fear rules, lack follows, for fear denies the eternal truth of infinite supply. Faith, on the other hand, is the open gate. Faith says, "I am supplied in all things," and the current rushes in. Faith says, "Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways," and new channels appear. Faith says, "I rejoice in my abundance," and joy multiplies what is already present. Faith is the hand stretched out to receive, the heart expanded to contain, the mind lifted above appearances into truth. Fear shrinks, faith expands. Fear limits, faith enlarges. Fear withers the soil. Faith waters it until it blooms. Consider how fear grips the world. Whole nations tremble at the thought of poverty. Whole societies build walls of anxiety around money. People wake at night to count their coins, worry over bills, imagine loss before it even arrives. Yet all the while, the river of supply flows untouched, unchanged, infinite as ever. The poverty they dread is not in the river. It is in the fear that turns them away from it. They stand beside the stream and cry that there is no water, refusing to bend down and cup their hands. Faith bends without hesitation and drinks deeply, knowing the source is inexhaustible. Fear is often rooted in memory. A person who once lost money imagines they will always lose again. A child who grew up in lack believes scarcity is natural. A worker who lived years with meager wages assumes wealth belongs only to others. These memories carve grooves in the mind, and words of fear flow through those grooves until they seem unbreakable. But faith breaks the pattern. Faith says, "The past is not the present. The past does not dictate my future. I live now in a universe of endless supply." Faith cuts new grooves, new channels through which abundance can pour. Fear thrives on appearances. When the purse is light, fear says, "This is the truth. This emptiness is all there is." Faith looks at the same purse and says, "Though it appears empty, the unseen is already filling it, and soon my hand will feel the weight of it." Fear measures by the visible and declares lack, but faith measures by the invisible and declares plenty. The one who listens to fear remains bound by appearances, while the one who listens to faith commands appearances to change. Fear loves to disguise itself as reason. It says, "Be realistic, there is only so much to go around." It says, "Save every penny, for you may never have more." It says, "Do not hope too much, for you will only be disappointed." But reason without faith is only the echo of fear. True reason acknowledges that life itself is abundance, that nature wastes nothing and yet withholds nothing. The sun shines freely. The rain falls generously. The earth yields crops in endless cycles. Faith looks to these patterns and says, "As it is in nature, so it is in my life. I live in an infinite universe, and therefore my supply is infinite." A fear contracts the imagination. It makes one see only debt, only loss, only empty cupboards. Faith expands imagination until it sees opportunities, gifts, unexpected channels. A fearful mind is blind to doors opening, because it is too busy watching the ground for cracks. A faithful mind sees doors where others see walls, sees treasures where others see emptiness. Fear sees limits, faith sees possibilities. Fear cannot create, it can only destroy. When a person speaks from fear, they affirm lack. They plant seeds of poverty, they invite more of what they dread. They say, I can't afford this. And life echoes back, you can't afford this. They say, money never comes to me. And life responds, money never comes to you. Their words, born of fear, become law faith creates. Faith says, I have more than enough, and life multiplies. Faith says, money flows to me constantly, and channels open. Faith says, I am rich in every way, and abundance begins to manifest. Words charged with fear build walls, words charged with faith build bridges. The subtlety of fear lies in its persistence. It comes again and again, whispering doubts, stirring anxieties. It says, what if the money does not come? What if something goes wrong? What if I fail? The only answer is to meet fear with faith, word for word, thought for thought. Each time fear whispers, faith must declare. Each time doubt rises, truth must be spoken. Authority lies not in the absence of fear, but in the refusal to believe it. Faith does not wait until fear disappears, it speaks over fear until fear is silenced. Fear teaches people to hoard. They hold money tightly, fearing to let it go, but in doing so they choke the flow. Money, like water, must circulate to remain fresh. Hoarding in fear is like damming a stream. The water stagnates. Faith spends with joy, gives with gladness, and receives with gratitude. Faith knows that every outflow prepares for inflow, that nothing released in trust can fail to return multiplied. Fear cries, if I give I will have less. Faith declares, as I give, I receive more. The fearful hand remains empty, the faithful hand is filled again and again. Fear breeds envy, the belief that if others prosper, there will be less for oneself. It watches another's success with bitterness, saying, why them and not me? But faith rejoices in another's prosperity, knowing it proves the law at work and therefore confirms one's own supply is certain. Fear isolates, faith unites. Fear sees competition. Faith sees abundance enough for all. Every heart must choose whether to live under the rule of fear or under the rule of faith. Fear binds with chains of lack, faith opens gates of supply. Fear argues with appearances, faith declares the unseen. Fear waits for evidence, faith creates evidence. Fear diminishes, faith multiplies. Fear paralyzes the hand, faith stretches it out. Where fear speaks, the channel closes. But where faith affirms, the floodgates open and abundance flows without measure. To act as if now is to step into the rhythm of the law, which knows nothing of waiting, nothing of delay, nothing of tomorrow. The law hears only the present moment. It does not answer to, I will be rich someday, or, I hope abundance comes tomorrow. For such words are always postponing, always casting the good into a future that never arrives. The present is the only place creation occurs, the only time when power moves. To act as if now is to collapse the distance between desire and manifestation, to embody the wealth, the freedom, the joy as though it were already established, because in truth it is. Every demonstration begins with assumption. To assume is to claim inwardly. To stand in the state of already having, already being, already holding. When one assumes, they impress the subconscious with reality, and the subconscious, obedient to every impression, builds outer conditions to match the inner state. To assume wealth is to think, speak, and move as one already prosperous. To assume lack is to act as though abundance were always absent, and the outer reflects accordingly. The choice is constant, to assume the good as now or to delay it by believing it belongs to the future. Acting as if now is not pretense, it is alignment. Pretending says, I don't have, but I'll pretend I do. Alignment says, I have already in the unseen, and I align with it here and now. Pretending is play, but alignment is power. The law does not deal in fantasy, it deals in vibration. When you vibrate as if you already possess wealth, you harmonize with the frequency of wealth, and it must appear. When you vibrate as if you are always lacking, you harmonize with poverty, and poverty appears. Acting as if now tunes the whole being to the current of abundance. The body responds to assumption. A person who fears poverty walks with heaviness, shoulders bent, voice low. A person who assumes wealth stands tall, speaks with assurance, radiates calm. The subconscious reads these signals, and so does the world. Opportunities, people, and conditions are drawn to the vibration one embodies. To act as if now is to carry the air of prosperity. To conduct oneself as one who already holds the money in hand, who already enjoys the freedom, who already lives in the mansion of abundance. This embodiment becomes a magnet that attracts matching experiences. Many say, I will act prosperous when I have prosperity. But this is reversal. For prosperity comes when it is claimed, not before. If a farmer said, I will plant when I see the harvest, no crop would ever grow. The seed is the acting as if, the harvest is the result. To act poor because the purse is empty is to plant more emptiness. To act rich while the purse seems light is to plant abundance. Every smile in the face of want, every confident step taken without visible means, every declaration of wealth spoken while appearances deny it, is a seed of prosperity sown in the soil of the present moment. Acting as if now requires words that affirm the present. One must say, I am wealthy, not, I will be wealthy. One must declare, I receive money now, not, I hope it comes soon. The vibration of now charges the affirmation with power, while the vibration of the future leaves it always just beyond reach. Even in the smallest matters, one must claim in the present tense. When a bill arrives, instead of saying, I cannot pay this yet, faith says, this bill is already paid in the invisible, and the money appears now. By speaking in the present, the subconscious is instructed to provide now. Acting as if now also involves gratitude. Gratitude is the proof of faith. To give thanks for something before it appears is to declare, I know it is already mine. The grateful heart does not beg, it rejoices in what it has received though the outer eye has not yet seen it. Gratitude in advance is one of the most powerful ways to act as if now. Each word of thanks sends a signal of fulfillment, and fulfillment attracts its own likeness. The imagination must also act as if now. Instead of picturing wealth as something far off, the mind must dwell on images of already having, already holding, already enjoying. To imagine receiving money someday is to cast it away. To imagine holding it now, counting it, spending it, blessing it, is to bring the image into the present and impress it upon the subconscious. The stronger the image, the faster the manifestation. Imagination is rehearsal for reality, and the subconscious takes rehearsal as fact. Action in the outer world must reflect the inner assumption. If one claims abundance but behaves in fear, hoarding every coin, the contradiction delays the demonstration. To act as if now may mean giving freely, spending joyfully, sharing generously, even when appearances suggest caution. Each act of generosity says, I trust my supply now. Each joyful purchase says, I live in abundance now. The outer act reinforces the inner state, and the universe matches both. The rhythm of now requires consistency. To claim abundance one day and fall into fear the next is to sow and uproot in turn, leaving the field bare. Acting as if now must be a continual stance, not a momentary effort. It is not a phrase spoken once but a state embodied. To live daily as though the wealth were already manifest. To speak daily as though supply were constant. To think daily as though abundance were secure. This persistence carves the pattern deep, until the outer must conform. Children embody this principle naturally. When a child says, I will have this toy, they often play as though it were already theirs, imagining it in their hands, rejoicing in it before it arrives. Often the toy comes, through gift or chance, because their innocent assumption impressed the unseen. Adults lose this power by filling themselves with doubt, speaking of delays, worrying over appearances. To reclaim childlike certainty is to regain the ease of manifestation. Acting as if now also dissolves waiting. Waiting is heavy with resistance, filled with the sense of, not yet. To wait is to affirm delay. To act as if now is to erase waiting. To step directly into possession. It lifts the heart out of postponement into certainty, and certainty is magnetic. The energy of delay repels. The energy of now attracts. When appearances contradict the assumption, the test of faith arises. The purse may still be light, the bills may still pile. The accounts may still look empty, but acting as if now means holding fast to the state of abundance regardless. It is the refusal to let appearances dictate reality. It is the insistence that the unseen truth of wealth is more real than the seen shadow of lack. This firmness builds power, and power calls forth supply. The universe always responds to the vibration of now. It never hears later. It never hears someday. When one says, I am, the law answers. When one says, I will be, the law waits. When one says, I hope, the law pauses. But when one says, it is done now, the unseen moves instantly to reveal itself. To act as if now is to live in the eternal present, where all good already exists, to step into the current of supply, and to embody wealth until wealth itself must appear. Beloved, life is not a struggle, it is a game. And in this game, the rules are simple: what you think, you bring; what you affirm, you attract; what you believe, you create. Words are your wands, thoughts are your tools, and imagination is the sacred brush painting the canvas of your destiny. Every word you utter is a seed, planted deep within the fertile soil of the unseen. Every affirmation you declare is a decree written in the great book of life. Manifestation is not a labor of years. It is the instant recognition of divine law. There is no delay in spirit. Delay is only the illusion of the mortal mind, doubting, questioning, hesitating. But the instant you align thought with faith, word with conviction, and desire with divine order, results come with speed that astonishes. What once seemed far off now appears at your doorstep. What once seemed impossible now rises, solid and secure, before your very eyes. When you affirm, you claim your inheritance. You are not pleading. You are not begging. You are declaring what already is. You are tuning your being to the rhythm of the infinite, and when you do, doors fly open, obstacles vanish, and what is yours rushes to you in perfect timing. The spirit within you knows no lack, no limit, no obstacle. The spirit within you is the key that turns every lock. To manifest 110 times faster, you must speak as one who already possesses. To affirm with 110% guarantee, you must know the law and stand unshaken upon it. Say to yourself, there is no delay in divine mind. My good appears now. That which I seek is already seeking me. The way is prepared, the supply is endless, the answer is mine. Speak these words not as a wish, but as a decree. Speak them as truth. Speak them as law. Remember, doubt is the thief. Fear is the robber, hesitation is the wall. But faith is the sword, affirmation is the key, and divine certainty is the open door. Each time you affirm with joy and conviction, you set into motion unseen forces. Each time you declare your good, invisible hands arrange the details, bringing all things into harmony for your highest good. The universe does not measure time as mortals do. The universe answers the word spoken with power, the thought wrapped in faith, the affirmation charged with fire. Say it, believe it, and let it go, knowing it is done. Then watch as your manifestation speeds toward you, not slowly, not someday, but now swiftly, with precision and perfection. Therefore, let your words be golden keys. Let your affirmations be royal decrees. Let your manifestations be swift testimonies of the divine law at work in your life. For when you claim your good, it is already yours. When you declare your wealth, health, love, and success, it rushes to you with certainty. When you align with divine order, nothing can keep from you what belongs to you by right of consciousness. Words are wands of creation, and with every syllable spoken, every whisper uttered, every declaration proclaimed, you are shaping the invisible substance of life into form. The spoken word carries weight beyond the reach of human sight. It is not idle sound, it is vibration, and vibration is power. The universe itself is composed of rhythm, tone, and sound. To speak is to command, to affirm is to direct, and to declare is to mold the unseen into the seen. A careless word scatters, a fearful word binds, a doubtful word delays. But a word spoken with authority, faith, and conviction plants itself in the fertile ground of spirit and springs forth in due season. There is no empty word, for each word is charged with the energy of belief behind it. When you speak, you set laws into motion. Invisible currents move at your command, rearranging circumstances, drawing people, opening doors, and dissolving obstacles. If you would realize the speed and certainty with which your words work, you would guard them as treasure, you would polish them as jewels, and you would wield them with the precision of a master. Too often one speaks words of lack, and then wonders why lack appears. One complains of delay and sees only delay. One repeats fear and meets with fear. But the law is exact: whatever you decree with your lips, believing, you will see with your eyes. The power of the word is magnified when spoken aloud. Thought is a silent seed, but speech is the watering of the seed with vibration. The moment the word leaves your lips, it leaves an imprint upon the ethers, and that imprint calls forth manifestation. This is why affirmations spoken with feeling carry immeasurable force. To murmur mechanically, without faith or energy, produces little change, but to speak with conviction, as though announcing truth to the universe, causes all invisible forces to bend in your favor. You are not merely speaking, you are commanding the unseen. Each word carries a tone, and tone creates resonance. A word spoken in anger carries a vibration that disturbs the field, attracting more anger and discord. A word spoken in love carries harmony, drawing back peace, joy, and healing. To know this is to hold the power of a magician, for you can shape your world by shaping your words. Words of complaint bring more reason to complain. Words of gratitude bring more to be grateful for. Words of faith open the gate to miracles. Words of fear build walls that keep good away. The ancients knew the power of the word. They spoke blessings, decrees, and chants, knowing that sound carried the vibration of creation. Sacred words repeated with faith shifted realities. This knowledge has never disappeared. It is simply hidden in plain sight, waiting for those who are ready to remember. You are one of those. The moment you choose to speak only words of power, your world rearranges itself to match the vibration you hold. You no longer drift upon circumstance. You command your ship upon the seas of life. It is not necessary to strain or to force. The power lies not in loudness, but in certainty. A quiet word spoken with unwavering belief is mightier than a shout filled with doubt. Speak as though you were pronouncing truth, not pleading for it. Declare your good as though it already belongs to you, for in truth it does. The law cannot deny a word spoken in alignment with divine certainty. Speak wealth and wealth takes form. Speak health and health flows. Speak success and doors swing wide. Speak love and love surrounds you. Guard your tongue, for it is the rudder of your destiny. With every word you either steer toward the harbor of your good or drift into the storms of your fear. The choice lies with you, moment by moment, phrase by phrase, declaration by declaration. You need not speak many words, but you must speak strong words. A single affirmation spoken with the authority of faith can dissolve mountains of doubt and bring swift manifestation. Words are the architects of your reality, and every spoken thought is a building block in the house of your life. Faith eliminates delay. For faith is the eternal now and the eternal yes. Delay is but the shadow cast by doubt, the illusion created when the human mind looks outward instead of upward. In truth, there is no delay in spirit. For all that you seek already exists in the unseen, waiting only for your unwavering recognition. The moment you release hesitation and clothe your desire with faith, the substance of things hoped for takes swift shape, and the unseen becomes seen. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and once it is walked, time collapses and distance disappears. The human mind is prone to measuring, calculating, and postponing. It says, someday perhaps, if conditions allow. But faith speaks another language. Faith says, now here, already mine. Faith does not wait for outer signs to confirm. It declares, and the signs rush forth to obey. Delay comes when one waits to see before believing, but faith believes and therefore sees. When you say with conviction, my good is here now, you tear down the wall of time and open the gate for instant demonstration. Every hesitation is a chain upon the manifestation of good. When the mind wonders if it is possible, the current is slowed. When the heart questions whether it deserves, the flow is blocked. When the lips speak doubt, the command is cancelled. But when the word is spoken with faith, the current of life rushes unobstructed. Faith is the swift current, doubt the dam. The stronger the faith, the swifter the manifestation. Faith is not blind, it is sight on a higher plane. It sees what mortal eyes cannot yet see, and in seeing, it calls it forth. To cultivate faith is to eliminate waiting. Many toil and labor, imagining they must push or strive. Yet they still delay their good because they do not believe it can come easily. Faith knows no toil. For faith understands that all things are already complete in divine mind. You need not struggle to make them real. You need only align with them in consciousness. The moment you accept them as yours in truth, they appear without delay. Faith is effortless knowing, not anxious hoping. Faith is calm certainty, not restless desire. When you walk in faith, you step into a timeless state. You cease to live in the tomorrow of your dreams and begin to live in the now of your fulfillment. Each time you affirm with faith, "It is done," you plant yourself in the eternal present where manifestation is immediate. The illusion of waiting vanishes, for faith collapses all distance between cause and effect. That which once seemed far away comes rushing to meet you because in spirit, there is no separation, no waiting, no postponement. Delay is an appearance, not a reality. Faith pierces the veil of appearances and calls forth the truth. Imagine a gardener planting a seed. If he doubts the soil, doubts the season, doubts the process, he digs it up again and again, and the sprout never appears. But if he trusts, knowing it is done, the seed grows in perfect time. Yet in the realm of spirit, time itself is pliable, and faith accelerates the season. Faith says the harvest is here, and behold, the harvest appears. Faith is the fire that burns away obstacles. Where there seems to be resistance, faith declares there is none. Where there appears to be lack, faith declares abundance. Where there looks to be delay, faith declares immediacy. The very act of declaring with faith dissolves the appearance and replaces it with truth. Each time you refuse to give attention to delay, and instead affirm the presence of your good, you train the mind to live in harmony with the law. Faith is the law of instant manifestation, and the law never fails when applied with certainty. Faith eliminates delay because it refuses to acknowledge delay. It sees beyond the senses, beyond appearances, beyond conditions. It knows that what you desire is already complete in the invisible, waiting for your acceptance. When you speak with faith, you do not ask, you declare. You do not hope, you know. You do not wait, you receive. The vibration of faith is irresistible, drawing to you what belongs to you with swift precision. The very air becomes charged with fulfillment, and circumstances rearrange themselves with astonishing speed. Affirmations are decrees, not wishes, for a wish is weak and uncertain, while a decree is law. A wish looks outward, hoping something may happen, pleading with chance, waiting on luck. A decree stands tall, clothed in authority, commanding the unseen to take form in the seen. The words of a wish carry no certainty. They drift like smoke and vanish. The words of a decree strike like lightning, charged with faith, establishing order, shaping substance, bringing forth that which is spoken. When you affirm, you are not begging, you are not asking, you are declaring truth into being. You are the sovereign of your world, and your affirmations are royal commands that must be obeyed. When you speak an affirmation, you are issuing a statement of what is, not what might be. The unseen does not respond to hesitation, it responds to certainty. To say, "I hope I shall prosper," is to confess doubt, but to affirm, "I am prosperity now," is to set prosperity into motion. The difference is vast. For the one who wishes leans on circumstances, while the one who decrees commands circumstances. The law of life responds to your tone, to the vibration of your words, and the decree carries the vibration of completion. A wish looks forward to the future, a decree announces the present. The one who affirms with authority collapses the distance between desire and fulfillment, speaking as though it already stands before the eyes. A decree is not timid, it is final. When a ruler speaks, there is no question of whether it will be done. So too with your words, when spoken in faith. To affirm is to stand in the authority of the divine within you. It is not personality that speaks, it is spirit declaring its own truth. Spirit does not plead, spirit does not doubt, spirit does not wait. Spirit says, "I am," and so it is. When you affirm, I am health. I am love. I am wealth. You are not pretending, you are proclaiming. You are stating reality on the higher plane, which soon reshapes the lower. Every time you affirm, you impress the invisible. Each word etches itself upon the substance of life, and that substance molds itself to match your decree. If you speak affirmations weakly, as though asking, the impression is faint. If you speak with conviction, as though announcing law, the impression is deep and unshakable. This is why repetition with authority is powerful. Each decree strikes the same place until it is carved into form. Each affirmation spoken, as truth writes the law of your life anew. A wish waits to see before believing, but a decree believes and therefore sees. A wish is filled with longing, but longing only prolongs. A decree is filled with certainty, and certainty hastens manifestation. You need not know how it will appear, for the decree summons the unseen forces that arrange every detail. You need not labor or push, for the decree sets invisible currents in motion, gathering people, circumstances, and opportunities to bring forth your word. The decree is the seed, and the manifestation is the harvest. When you speak as though commanding the universe, you align with the authority that is already yours. Too many weaken their words with doubt, saying, I hope, I wish, I want. These phrases confess lack and delay. To affirm rightly is to strip away weakness and clothe your words with strength. I am, I have, it is done. Such words are the language of decrees. They are final, unmovable, irresistible. They leave no room for contradiction, and so contradiction fades away. The universe hears tone, not begging. It hears certainty, not uncertainty. To affirm is to vibrate with truth, and vibration calls to itself its equal. Say, I am love, with authority, and love appears. Say, I am abundance, with authority and abundance flows. Say, I am success, with authority, and success takes form. Do not say these as though they may be, say them as though they already are. That is the difference between wishing and decreeing. A wish waits, a decree commands. Doubt blocks, certainty unlocks, for doubt is the great thief of manifestation and certainty is the golden key that opens every door. Doubt hesitates, questions, delays, and builds walls where there should be open pathways. Certainty clears the way, dissolves obstacles, and calls forth results with swiftness. The energy of doubt is heavy, tangled, and confused, while the energy of certainty is light, direct, and unstoppable. Every thought you think, and every word you speak is infused with one or the other, and the result is determined by which energy you hold. Doubt is born of fear, and fear is faith turned upside down. Fear imagines what it does not want and gives it power, while doubt whispers that the good desired cannot come or will take too long. Doubt attaches itself to the mind like a shadow, questioning every affirmation, pulling apart every decree, testing the ground with hesitation. It says, what if it doesn't happen? What if I am not worthy? What if this is impossible? These are the voices of delay, the barriers to manifestation. They are illusions. Yet illusions have strength when believed. To break them requires the firmness of certainty, the unshakable knowing that what is declared must appear. Certainty does not ask how, nor does it wait for proof. Certainty knows the unseen is already arranging itself. It stands calm, unwavering, and assured, declaring the end from the beginning. Where doubt builds walls, certainty builds bridges. Where doubt weakens words, certainty empowers them. When you affirm with doubt, you cancel your own command. When you affirm with certainty, the law moves instantly to fulfill it. The difference between the two is the difference between delay and demonstration. Imagine a key turning in a lock. If you hesitate, jiggle, and fumble, the door remains closed. But with a steady hand and full confidence, the lock yields at once. Certainty is that steady hand. It is the complete alignment of thought, word, and belief. When the affirmation is spoken with certainty, it is as though a decree has been carved into stone. The unseen cannot resist, for certainty vibrates with the frequency of truth, and truth always reveals itself. Doubt is a weight that binds energy, making manifestation sluggish and strained. Certainty is a release that frees energy, allowing manifestation to rush forward. Doubt says, someday maybe. Certainty says, now, already mine. Doubt clings and worries. Certainty lets go and trusts. Doubt builds tension in the heart. Certainty brings peace to the soul. And in that peace, creation is swift. The universe mirrors the vibration you hold. When you radiate doubt, the reflection you see is delay. When you radiate certainty, the reflection is fulfillment. Certainty does not mean straining or forcing. It is not stubborn insistence born of fear. It is quiet power, calm knowing, the stillness of faith. It is the deep recognition that the outcome is already secure, already present in the invisible, already on its way to the visible. With certainty, there is no need to check and measure, to worry or repeat anxiously. One declaration spoken with certainty carries more force than 1,000 words spoken with doubt. Certainty anchors the word so deeply that nothing can uproot it. Every time you affirm, you are either blocking or unlocking. If doubt lingers, the gate stays shut. If certainty reigns, the gate swings wide. To cultivate certainty, you must train the inner voice to silence doubt. Each time the mind whispers, "What if not?" replace it with "It is." Each time fear rises, counter it with truth. Certainty grows stronger each time it is chosen, until it becomes second nature, a constant state of being. When certainty is established, affirmations no longer feel like repetition, they feel like proclamation, and manifestation responds with speed. Doubt is a denial of your own power. Certainty is the embrace of it. Doubt speaks as though separated from the source, uncertain of connection, unworthy of good. Certainty speaks as one with the source, certain of supply, deserving of every blessing. Doubt hides in the language of, "I hope," and "maybe." Certainty shines in the language of, "I am," and "is done." Doubt lives in the future tense. Certainty lives in the eternal present. Doubt is noise, certainty is silence. Doubt is shadow, certainty is light. Divine timing is always now. For spirit does not live in the calendar of men, nor does it measure by clocks or seasons. In the realm of the infinite, there is no waiting, no postponement, no future delay. All that exists in the eternal present, and when consciousness aligns with this truth, manifestations unfold with immediacy. Time is an appearance, a construct of the human mind, created to order events, but spirit knows only now. To live in harmony with divine timing is to step out of the illusion of waiting, and to recognize that your good is not on its way. It is already here. When you say, "Someday I will have," you push your desire further away, for the word someday never arrives. The law of manifestation responds only to the present. To say, "I have it now," is to declare reality as it is in the higher plane, and the higher plane reshapes the lower in response. The unseen holds your good in completeness, waiting only for your recognition. The instant you declare, "It is mine now," you open the floodgates. Delay is but doubt disguised as time. The eternal present has no gap between desire and fulfillment. Those who wait upon the future bind themselves to shadows. They say, "One conditions change when I have more, when the right moment arrives." Yet conditions shift in response to inner conviction, not the other way around. The right moment is always the moment you claim it. The supply is already given, the path is already clear, the door is already open. The only barrier is the belief that it is not yet so. To live in divine timing is to know that now is the only time, and in that knowing, the manifestation appears. The human mind loves to postpone. It says, "Next month I will prosper. Tomorrow I will be healed. One day I will find love." But Spirit says, "Now." Spirit does not prepare blessings as though they are yet to be created. Spirit already holds them in perfect order, complete, waiting only for acceptance. The moment you align with the vibration of now, the unseen rushes forward to mirror it. Affirming now is the secret of acceleration. To say, "I am," instead of "I will be," is to claim what is already yours. Consider the flower in the bud. To the human eye, it seems the bloom is waiting, but in spirit, the flower is complete. The unfolding is only the appearance of time. So too with your good. It is not becoming, it is. Faith sees beyond appearances and declares completion. Faith lives in the present, not in the future. Divine timing is not delay, it is immediate correspondence to consciousness. The moment you accept now, the bloom reveals itself. To anchor yourself in divine timing is to release anxiety about when or how. You no longer question the calendar, nor measure the hours. You stand in the eternal present, declaring, "It is done," and knowing it to be so. In this state, you are free from the bondage of waiting. Every affirmation carries the vibration of immediacy. Every word spoken resounds with fulfillment. Every thought held aligns with completion. The universe responds instantly to such alignment, for it knows no future, only presence. The mind of man often ties manifestation to processes and steps, believing that results must unfold slowly. Yet spirit is not bound by steps. Spirit leaps, shifts, and arranges all things in a moment. What appears to take months can occur in a day. What seems impossible can appear instantly. This is the nature of divine timing. It does not follow the slow rhythm of human expectation, it follows the eternal rhythm of now. The more you affirm the presence of your good in this moment, the swifter it appears in your experience. When you affirm, say it as present truth. I am supplied now. I am healed now. I am successful now. I am loved now. Do not wait for tomorrow to agree with your word. For tomorrow is only the extension of now. Every decree spoken in the present aligns you with the eternal present, and in that alignment, manifestation is immediate. Divine timing never postpones, never withholds, never delays. It always answers, and the answer is always now. Speak as though it is already done, for the word is not a description of what might be, it is the decree of what already is in spirit. The unseen responds to the vibration of finality, not to the tone of uncertainty. When you speak as if your desire is still far away, you push it further from you. When you speak as though it has already taken form, you draw it near with irresistible power. Every word spoken is a seed, and the seed produces after its own kind. To say, I will have, plants the seed of waiting, but to say, I have now, plants the seed of fulfillment. The law of life mirrors your tone, and the tone of completion brings swift results. Many weaken their affirmations by placing them in the future. They say, one day I will prosper, someday I will be healed, in time I will succeed. Such words confess lack, for they admit the good is not here. But to speak as though it is done is to claim ownership. I am prosperous now, I am healed now, I am successful now. The words ring with authority, for they carry the vibration of certainty. The unseen does not question, it obeys. It does not delay, it reflects. What is spoken as complete is completed. The secret is to speak not as a beggar, but as a ruler. The beggar pleads, hoping that something may come. The ruler commands, knowing that the decree cannot be denied. When you speak, you are not asking the universe to consider your request, you are declaring what Spirit has already provided. Spirit holds all things in readiness. Your affirmation is not a plea for creation, it is a recognition of completion. When you say, it is done, you align with the eternal present where all is already finished. Speaking as though it is already done does not mean pretending or forcing belief. It is not self-deception, it is spiritual recognition. On the higher plane, your desire exists in perfection. It is whole, complete, untouched by delay or resistance. By speaking as though it is here, you lift your consciousness to that plane and bring the unseen into the seen. You are not making something happen. You are allowing what already is to be revealed. Your word is the bridge that carries it across. The vibration of completion has a quality of calm. There is no strain in the words of one who knows. To say, it is done, with certainty is to rest in the truth of fulfillment. Anxiety dissolves. Fear vanishes, doubt falls away, for the word carries peace. The mind no longer asks, when will it come? For the heart knows it is here. That state of knowing is the magnet that draws your good swiftly. To speak as though it is already done is to stop chasing and to begin receiving. Every affirmation has two possible tones, the tone of lack or the tone of possession. The tone of lack weakens, the tone of possession strengthens. You must examine the way you speak, for the law hears not only the words but the spirit behind them. If you say, I am wealthy, but with a tone of longing, you are affirming absence. If you say, I am wealthy, with the calm certainty of completion, you are affirming presence. The unseen knows the difference and responds accordingly. Speak as one who owns, not as one who waits. This principle is not limited to words spoken aloud, for the silent words of thought carry the same power. Every inner statement must be guarded. If you think of your desire as far away, it remains far away. If you think of it as present, it becomes present. Your inner dialogue must agree with your spoken affirmations. Let your inner voice declare, it is done. Let your thoughts rest in fulfillment. The outer will mirror the inner, for the two are never separate. Speaking as though it is already done is the language of faith. Faith does not postpone. Faith does not question. Faith does not hope weakly. Faith declares with certainty, and in declaring, it creates. When you speak, let your words be final. Let them carry the vibration of truth. Speak health as though it already fills your body. Speak abundance as though it already flows in your life. Speak love as though it already surrounds you. Speak success as though it already crowns your efforts. The word spoken in completion draws the completed form into view. Manifestation follows alignment with law. For nothing appears in the outer world unless it first agrees with the great principles that govern creation. The universe is not ruled by chance, nor by luck, but by unchanging spiritual law. Just as gravity holds the planets in their courses, so does the law of mind hold every manifestation in order. To align with this law is to bring forth swift demonstration. To oppose it is to experience delay, confusion, and disorder. The law itself is neutral, responding not to wishes or complaints, but to the vibration of thought, the authority of word, and the certainty of belief. When the mind is filled with fear, contradiction, and doubt, it is out of alignment, and the results that appear reflect that misalignment. When the mind is filled with faith, clarity, and truth, it is in harmony, and the results mirror that harmony. You cannot plant one kind of seed and expect another to grow, nor can you sow thoughts of lack and reap abundance. The law is exact, impartial, and unfailing. It gives back what you put into it, shaped and multiplied, returned in the form you have impressed upon it. Manifestation does not bypass this law, it follows it with precision. Alignment with law means speaking words that agree with truth, thinking thoughts that reflect abundance, and holding beliefs that match the reality you desire. To affirm wealth while secretly believing in poverty is to stand divided, and the law reflects the division. To declare health while dwelling on sickness is to create resistance, and the law reflects the resistance. Alignment requires unity of mind, word, and spirit. When all three move together in certainty, the law produces results with speed and accuracy. The law is not moved by pleading, for pleading implies separation and lack. The law is moved by decree, for decree implies oneness and possession. To align with law is to recognize that the good you desire already exists in the unseen, complete and waiting. The affirmation declares it. The belief accepts it, the thought sustains it, and the law brings it into visibility. This is not magic, though it may appear magical to the unknowing. It is the natural operation of spiritual principles that have always governed life. Consider a river flowing in perfect rhythm. If you move with the current, you travel swiftly and effortlessly. If you resist, you struggle, strain, and are held back. The law is that river. Alignment allows you to move with ease, carried to your destination. Misalignment brings struggle and delay. The river does not change its course to suit your resistance. It flows as it always has. So too the law does not alter. It responds only to alignment. When you think, speak, and believe in harmony with truth, you are lifted and carried by the current of manifestation. The key is consistency. Many affirm with strength one moment and contradict themselves the next. They declare abundance in the morning and complain of lack in the afternoon. They speak health in prayer and sickness in conversation. Such contradictions send mixed signals, and the law mirrors the mixture. To align with law requires discipline, the guarding of tongue and thought, the unwavering choice to affirm truth and nothing else. Each time you choose alignment, the current strengthens. Each time you contradict it, the current is broken. Manifestation is not random, nor is it selective. It follows alignment the way a shadow follows form. The moment you align, the manifestation is inevitable. It may appear gradually or suddenly, but it cannot be withheld, for the law never fails. The unseen substance responds the same way every time. It shapes itself according to the mold you give it. The mold is your thought, your word, your belief. If the mold is steady and aligned, the form is steady and swift. If the mold is broken and scattered, the form is delayed and distorted. Alignment with law is the highest freedom. It releases you from the bondage of chance, circumstance, and external conditions. No longer do you wait for outer events to change before you believe. Instead, you believe and the outer changes. No longer do you chase after effects, hoping they will bring satisfaction. Instead, you align with cause, and effects flow naturally. The law is the invisible architect, and you are its voice. When you command with truth, the law builds without delay. When you waver, the structure falters. The choice of alignment rests in your hands, moment by moment, thought by thought, word by word. There is a river of abundance that flows through the universe, and each soul is meant to drink from it freely. This river knows no delay, no resistance, no lack. It moves swiftly, like a golden current, always searching for open hearts and expectant minds. When one aligns their inner word with divine law, money does not trickle in, money flows in, as naturally as the tide greets the shore. Wealth is not something to be chased, it is a presence to be received. When you declare with authority that money comes to you in unexpected ways, you set unseen forces into immediate motion. Invisible channels open. A door that seemed closed gives way. A forgotten path lights up beneath your feet. Money is energy, and energy responds to thought, to feeling, to spoken word. What is spoken with faith becomes substance, for the word is creative. As you speak, so it is formed. Within 10 minutes, the tide of your expectation can shift. The old thought of delay, of waiting, of struggle, falls away. In its place stands a radiant certainty. You do not beg for money, for begging is born of fear. You expect it, because it is yours by divine right. The universe does not withhold. It mirrors. It reflects the image you hold within. If your heart says, "I receive," then the world must say, "Here it is." Money does not come from people, it comes through them. It does not come from one single source, for the universe has infinite channels. It may arrive in a gift, in a forgotten refund, in a sudden opportunity, in a message, in a door opening just when you thought it was too late. Divine supply is clever, swift, and precise. It moves like the wind, sometimes unseen, always undeniable. In this very moment, as you breathe, the current of abundance moves toward you. You may not yet see it with your eyes, but it is already set in motion. The unseen world precedes the seen. Just as a seed begins to sprout underground before a leaf appears, your wealth is already growing beneath the surface. Speak to it, call it forth. Say, "I receive unexpected money now. I welcome the flow," and the flow responds. All resistance is but an illusion, a shadow on the bright wall of divine supply. Shadows cannot hold back the sun. Lack cannot hold back abundance. When the inner word is clear, the outer world obeys. The more you trust, the faster the current moves. It is not about time, it is about alignment. 10 minutes are enough when you stand in the vibration of receiving. Money is not distant, it is not delayed, it is already on its way. The universe delights in speed when the soul is ready. And now the soul is ready. To speak your desire with unwavering certainty is to align yourself with the creative law of the universe. Every word carries power, every thought shapes form, and every declaration sows a seed in the unseen garden of supply. When you speak from a place of absolute conviction, the energy of your word becomes a command rather than a wish. It moves through the invisible realm with precision and purpose, calling forth that which is already waiting to be received. Certainty is not loud, nor is it desperate. It is quiet, steady, immovable. It does not tremble or second-guess. It stands like a pillar of light, firm in the knowing that what is spoken must come to pass. The universe listens not to fear, but to faith. It answers the tone of assurance, not the murmur of doubt. When you speak as if your desire is already fulfilled, you speak in the language the universe understands. Certainty is not born of force, but of inner alignment. It is the silent agreement between your heart and the infinite. It says, "This is already mine." And in that moment, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to mirror that truth. A mind that is uncertain sends out a signal of contradiction, building one moment and tearing down the next. But a mind that is unwavering sends out a single clear note, and the universe echoes it back without distortion. Your words become your architecture. Every sentence shapes a wall, every thought lays a brick, and certainty turns that structure from fragile sand into solid stone. When you speak your desire, do not speak from the place of wanting, for wanting implies absence. Speak from the place of possession, from the vibration of already having. To say, "I will receive," is to place your good in the future. To say, "I have received," is to bring it into now. The energy of certainty is magnetic. It does not chase, it attracts. Just as the sun does not run after the planets but holds them in place by its radiance, your certainty holds your desire in orbit until it must come into form. Doubt scatters energy, causing confusion, delay, and resistance. Certainty gathers energy, creating clarity, momentum, and manifestation. This is why it matters not only what you say, but how you say it. A declaration made with trembling hope does not carry the same weight as a declaration made with calm assurance. The tone of your inner voice speaks louder than the words themselves. When you speak with unwavering certainty, even the unseen forces align themselves to fulfill your command. To develop such certainty, one must understand that their desire is not something they must earn. It is already part of their divine inheritance. Abundance does not need convincing, it needs permission. The universe does not operate by negotiation, it responds to conviction. When you say, "Money flows to me easily," and believe it with the full force of your being, every corner of creation begins to conspire in your favor. Doors open, paths clear, and channels reveal themselves. The word unwavering means you do not allow outside appearances to dictate your inner truth. Even if the bank account shows a number that does not reflect your desire, your certainty remains untouched. Appearances are temporary shadows. Truth is eternal. This kind of certainty is not arrogance but spiritual authority. It is the authority of one who knows their place in the divine order. It is the recognition that you are not separate from the flow of abundance but part of it, one with it. Your word is the key that unlocks the door to what is already yours. When you speak, do not plead, do not hope, declare, command, claim. Let your words carry the weight of unshakable belief. Just as the ocean does not doubt its waves, you do not doubt your power to receive. Just as the sun does not question whether it will rise, you do not question whether your good will come. It is already set in motion the moment your word is spoken with certainty. The mind will sometimes whisper doubt, for it has been trained by appearances and past experiences. But certainty is not the absence of doubt. It is the refusal to let doubt rule. It is the steady hand that keeps the ship moving through the storm. It is the voice that says, "I know," even when the senses try to say otherwise. When you speak your desire, feel the truth of it settle in your body like a warm flame. Let that flame burn brighter than the flicker of fear. Let it speak louder than the echo of limitation. In that moment, your word becomes a decree, and the unseen responds as though it has heard the command of a king. Certainty is felt as much as it is spoken. It is in the calmness of your breath, the steadiness of your posture, the quiet power behind your tone. It does not reach or grasp. It simply is. It stands in the present moment unshaken, knowing the outcome is already complete. When you speak your desire from this place, you are not trying to make something happen. You are acknowledging that it is already done. You are aligning your inner state with the reality that already exists in the invisible realm. And when the inner and outer align, manifestation becomes inevitable. Your words create pathways through which energy flows. An uncertain word builds a crooked path. A certain word builds a straight road. When the road is straight, energy flows swiftly, and what you have declared reaches you without detour. This is why the practice of certainty is a discipline of the spirit. It requires training the tongue to speak only truth, training the mind to hold only the image of fulfillment, and training the heart to rest in trust. Each time you choose certainty over doubt, you strengthen the magnetic field around your desire, drawing it closer with irresistible force. The moment you speak your desire with unwavering certainty, you have already shifted timelines. The universe has received your word as law. It does not question. It does not hesitate. It moves according to the pattern you have impressed upon it. This is not a matter of chance, but of spiritual law. Just as gravity responds consistently, so too does the law of supply respond to the certainty of your word. To speak with unwavering certainty is to stand as a creator, not a beggar. It is to know that the unseen obeys your voice not because of force, but because of divine right. It is to stand in the authority of your being and let the universe echo your command. When you hold unwavering certainty, no external condition can shake it. Circumstances may appear otherwise, but they are simply catching up to your declaration. They are rearranging themselves, aligning, adjusting, preparing to reflect what you have already spoken. Time bends to certainty, not the other way around. Your declaration becomes the anchor that holds everything steady as the external shifts. And so you speak once, with power, with clarity, with the calm assurance of one who knows that their word is law. You do not chase after your desire. You stand, and it comes. You do not plead for it. You expect it. You do not wait in fear. You wait in knowing. Money flows through infinite channels, and this truth dissolves the idea that abundance must arrive in only one way. The universe is vast, intricate, and full of pathways unseen by the physical eye. To believe that money can come from only a single source is to place a wall where there should be an open gate. When you release that narrow belief, the flow of supply finds new and surprising ways to reach you. The divine current of provision is never blocked. It simply looks for the clearest path. When one channel appears closed, 1,000 more exist, waiting to open. Money is never lost. It only changes direction. And those who understand this truth walk with ease and quiet confidence, knowing they are never dependent on one stream alone. Every time you tie your expectation to a single person, job, business, or opportunity, you tighten the flow. You say, perhaps without realizing it, that abundance can only wear one face. But abundance has infinite faces. It wears the mask of chance encounters, unexpected gifts, long-forgotten refunds, inspired ideas, and doors you never even knew existed. To limit your belief is to limit the channels through which money can flow. To trust in infinite channels is to stand open to miracles. This openness is not passive. It is a powerful invitation. The moment you declare that money comes to you from expected and unexpected places, you set those unseen channels into motion. Money, like water, seeks the open vessel. If you place a cup beneath a stream, the water fills the cup. If you build a dam, the water flows around it, seeking another opening. When your mind is fixed only on one outcome, it becomes like that dam. But when you loosen your grip, allowing the flow to come from anywhere, you become like a wide riverbank, ready to receive the tide. This is why expectation must be coupled with surrender. Not surrender in weakness, but in trust. You speak your desire with clarity, but you allow the universe to choose the path. It knows the fastest, clearest route, often bypassing the very place you are staring at so intently. The idea of infinite channels lifts you above fear. If one door closes, your mind does not spiral into panic, because you know countless other doors stand ready to open. This dissolves dependency. and dependency is one of the greatest blocks to abundance. When you believe that only one employer, one client, one opportunity can provide for you, you hand your power away. When you understand that supply flows through infinite channels, you reclaim that power. No single circumstance can hold your good hostage. No person or situation controls the river of wealth. The universe is the source. People and circumstances are merely vessels. Your belief in infinite channels also sharpens your awareness. You begin to notice what you once overlooked. A casual conversation becomes a doorway. A message you almost ignored contains an opportunity. A problem that once seemed like a dead end reveals a golden path. Infinite channels are always around you, but only the open mind can see them. Doubt narrows your vision, trust expands it. When you trust in infinite channels, you stop staring at the closed door and turn to see the open gate right beside it. Money is often waiting just beyond the veil of rigid expectation. This is why gratitude plays such a powerful role in attracting abundance. When you are grateful for the flow that already exists, you signal the universe that you are ready for more. Gratitude opens new channels because it removes the feeling of lack. Lack closes the heart. Gratitude opens it wide. In the open heart, money finds an easy way. The channels are not forced open, they are invited. Just as sunlight pours into a room when the curtains are drawn back, abundance rushes in when the mind stops clinging to narrow ideas. The infinite nature of supply means that opportunities can appear in ways that seem illogical to the rational mind. This is why it is important not to question how the flow will come. The how belongs to the universe. Your task is to hold the clear intention and remain receptive. A sudden inspiration to make a call, send a message, or take a small action can be the opening of one of those channels. It may not look grand or obvious, but the current of money often moves through simple, natural, everyday events. What seems ordinary to the eye may be extraordinary in spirit. Each channel is like a thread in a vast tapestry. You cannot see the entire design from where you stand, but the pattern is being woven with precision. A delayed payment may lead to a better opportunity. A closed path may push you towards something richer. When you trust the infinite, you no longer cling to the temporary. You let the flow rearrange itself without fear. Your calm expectation creates a magnetic field that draws in the right channels with perfect timing. Fear pushes the flow away. Trust pulls it in closer. Understanding infinite channels also frees you from attaching your worth to one source. If your income came from a single job and that job ended, you might once have felt lost. But with the awareness of infinite channels, you understand that the job was merely one vessel, not the source itself. The river still flows. The vessel may change shape, but the water never ceases. This shift in perception is a quiet kind of power. It removes panic, and in its place grows unshakable faith. That faith becomes a beacon, drawing new opportunities faster than before. The flow through infinite channels is often effortless once resistance is gone. Resistance can appear as worry, control, or disbelief. When you worry about how it will happen, you block the very path that is trying to open. When you try to control every detail, you create friction. But when you trust in the infinite, you let the current carry you. The flow becomes smooth, natural, and almost playful. Money can appear as if by magic, though it is not magic at all. It is the natural response of an open system to the abundance already in existence. Your words and thoughts act as instructions to this flow. When you say, "I receive money only from this source," the flow listens and limits itself accordingly. When you say, "I receive money through infinite channels, expected and unexpected," the flow stretches its arms wide and seeks every open path to reach you. The flow is obedient. It follows the shape of your belief. This is why expanding your belief expands your income. It is not about working harder, it is about opening wider. The moment your mind accepts infinite channels, your energy shifts, and so does your reality. It is not necessary to know where or how the money will come. That knowledge belongs to the larger intelligence that governs the flow. Your part is to remain certain that the channels exist and are active, Even now, as you breathe, they are moving. They are aligning people, places, and events in quiet, subtle ways that bring your good to you. The channels may appear suddenly, or they may build quietly beneath the surface like an underground river ready to emerge. Your trust is the invitation. Your certainty is the anchor. Your openness is the path. To live in this awareness is to walk through life with quiet power. It means you no longer look to one place with anxious eyes. You look in all directions with calm expectancy. You do not panic when a door closes because you know it is only one of many. You stop asking, "Where will it come from?" and instead declare, "It will come." The infinite channels are already in motion, weaving the invisible into the visible, turning potential into form. Your work is not to chase them down, but to stand ready, with your hands open and your heart wide, allowing them to do what they have always done. Flow activation activates swift manifestation, because it is the bridge between thought and reality. When expectation is set firmly, it signals to the unseen that the desired outcome is already certain. It is not a hope, not a wish, but a knowing. This knowing sends out a clear frequency that the universe recognizes and responds to without hesitation. Expectation is different from desire. Desire can exist with uncertainty, with longing and waiting, but expectation is the stillness that comes when the heart has already accepted that what is desired is on its way. It creates a magnetic pull, drawing events, people, and circumstances into alignment, as if invisible hands were arranging them with perfect timing. When expectation is pure, it has no tremor. It does not waver between belief and doubt. It stands like a bright flame that cannot be blown out. This is why expectation can create swift results, sometimes in ways that seem almost miraculous. The universe does not measure time the way the human mind does. It moves at the speed of alignment. The moment expectation is fixed, the delay begins to dissolve. The path clears because expectation does not leave room for hesitation. Doubt slows the flow like debris in a river, but expectation clears the current, allowing everything to rush forward freely. Expectation is the language of certainty, and certainty is what the universe obeys. When you expect something with your whole being, you are not waiting for it as a stranger waits at the door. You are welcoming it as a guest you know is already on the way. This changes your energy. You stop questioning when or how. You begin to act, speak, and think as if it is already yours. And because your energy has shifted, everything around you begins to shift with it. The outer world is only a mirror. When the inner state is expectation, the mirror reflects fulfillment. There is a quiet power in expectation that requires no force. You do not need to push the river when you expect it to flow. You simply stand on its bank, knowing the water is coming. This state of expectancy creates a subtle vibration, one that draws the very thing you are expecting. It is like tuning a musical instrument. When you strike the right note, other instruments around it begin to hum in harmony. When your energy hums with expectation, reality responds in kind. Opportunities emerge, doors open, the right people appear, and what was once invisible begins to take form. Many people confuse expectation with mere positive thinking, but expectation is deeper. It does not live on the surface of thought, but in the roots of belief. It is a state of being, not just a mental exercise. You can say 1,000 words of hope, but if your inner state does not truly expect the outcome, the words carry little weight. But one quiet, unwavering expectation, held in the heart, can move mountains of resistance. This is why manifestation often happens not when someone is trying the hardest, but when they finally rest in the certainty of receiving. Expectation creates an energetic pathway. It is as if you build a road with your belief, and the thing you desire travels that road directly to you. When there is no expectation, the road remains unbuilt. When expectation is strong, the road is smooth and clear, and manifestation can move swiftly. The universe does not need time, it needs clarity. An expectation is pure clarity in motion. The moment you stop questioning and start expecting, the manifestation begins to accelerate. Fear and doubt act like barriers across this pathway. They do not stop the flow completely, but they slow it down, sending the energy in circles. Expectation, on the other hand, is like lifting those barriers. It says to the universe, I am ready, I trust, I know it is done. And because the universe is always listening to the energy beneath the words, it responds to that trust. This is why expectation is such a powerful catalyst. It removes the friction between desire and fulfillment. You do not need to know how your expectation will be fulfilled. The how belongs to the infinite intelligence that moves behind the scenes. Your only task is to hold the expectation steady. If you plant a seed and constantly dig it up to check if it's growing, you disturb its growth. But if you plant the seed and trust that it is sprouting beneath the soil, it grows quickly and strongly. Expectation is the same. It is the quiet trust that the seed you have planted is already growing. It does not demand proof. It knows proof will come. When you expect something fully, your actions naturally align with that expectation. If you expect to receive, you prepare. You clear space. You speak with confidence. You move through your day with quiet assurance. This alignment between inner state and outer action accelerates manifestation even more. You are no longer sending mixed signals. Everything within you and around you points in one direction, and that clarity creates speed. Expectation is also powerful because it overrides appearances. The physical world often lags behind the unseen, like an echo following a sound. If you judge by appearances, you may falter, but expectation keeps you steady. Even when nothing seems to be happening, expectation knows it is happening beneath the surface. It does not let the outer world dictate the inner state. This is why those who expect with unshakable certainty often see results where others do not. They are not swayed by what their eyes show. They remain fixed on what their heart knows. Expectation does not require shouting, striving, or begging. It is calm, grounded, and sure. It is like the sky before sunrise, knowing the light is coming. This quiet confidence carries a frequency that reality cannot ignore. Every moment spent in expectation is a moment of building momentum. The energy gathers strength, and when the timing aligns, it appears suddenly, though it has been forming all along. Doubt can coexist with desire, but it cannot coexist with true expectation. This is why expectation must be cultivated. It grows stronger when you choose it over fear again and again. Each time you expect despite appearances, you anchor the energy more deeply. Each time you choose certainty over doubt, the current grows faster. And the more you practice this state of expectancy, the more natural it becomes, until expectation itself is your resting place. Expectation is not about control. It is not about forcing reality into shape. It is about aligning with what is already yours in the unseen. It is about claiming the outcome before it has taken physical form. It is about knowing that the moment you expected it, it began its journey toward you. The universe does not delay out of resistance. It only waits for your signal to be clear. Expectation is that clear signal, the lighthouse guiding the ship of your desire straight to your shore. When expectation is unwavering, everything bends to meet it. Time shortens, coincidences multiply, and paths align in ways the rational mind could not have planned. What once seemed distant begins to feel close, and then suddenly it is here. This is not a miracle in the sense of breaking laws. It is the natural response to an energy that leaves no space for doubt. The moment expectation takes root deeply enough, manifestation is no longer a question of if, but simply a matter of when, and that when is often much sooner than the mind believes. Resistance is only an illusion, a shadow cast by the mind that believes in limitation. It has no substance of its own. It appears real only when attention is given to it, just as a shadow looks solid when stared at, but disappears when you turn toward the light. Resistance arises from doubt, fear, and the belief that what is desired is far away or difficult to attain. But the truth beneath the illusion is that abundance flows freely and constantly. The universe does not struggle to deliver what has already been spoken into existence. It moves smoothly, effortlessly, like a river following its course. What people call resistance is simply the fog of conflicting beliefs, a mirage that has no true power, except what is lent to it through focus. The nature of resistance is slippery, shifting shapes to match whatever fear it feeds on. Sometimes it appears as delay, sometimes as confusion, sometimes as a lack of opportunity, but these appearances are not barriers, they are reflections of inner hesitation. The moment one withdraws belief from resistance, it crumbles like mist in the morning sun. The flow of abundance is never truly blocked. It is only temporarily hidden behind a veil of false perception. This is why when a person stops wrestling with their own fear, everything they desired begins to move toward them with astonishing speed. The current was always there. They had simply been standing in their own way. Resistance thrives on attention. The more one stares at the closed door, the more solid it seems. But when the gaze turns away, when the mind stops narrating stories of lack and delay, the door ceases to matter, and often another door, already open, comes into view. The power lies not in trying to fight the resistance, but in seeing through it. You do not battle a shadow. You turn on the light. The light, in this case, is awareness, faith, and the quiet certainty that the flow is real and already moving. The moment you stop granting resistance the weight of truth, it fades, because it cannot stand in the presence of conviction. Many believe they must work harder to break through resistance, pushing, struggling, forcing outcomes. But struggle feeds the very illusion they want to dissolve. It adds weight to something that was weightless to begin with. The river does not need to be pushed to flow. It flows by its nature. The universe does not need to be convinced to provide. It provides by its nature. The only task is to step out of the way, to stop clutching at the illusion. When the mind relaxes its grip, the flow returns as if it had never left, because it never truly had. Resistance often disguises itself as logic. It says, "This will take time," or "This is not realistic," or "Things like this don't happen so easily." But these statements are not laws. They are habits of thought, echoes of old conditioning. They are like dust on a mirror, obscuring the reflection of abundance but never destroying it. When you wipe away those old beliefs, even gently, the reflection appears in its full brightness. The truth has always been there. The illusion never had real power. This is why sudden shifts can happen the moment someone stops believing in their obstacles. The illusion collapses instantly because it was never solid in the first place. Resistance also feeds on the idea of control. The more one tries to manage every detail of how things should happen, the more tangled the flow becomes. Control is the soil where resistance grows, but trust is the wind that clears it away. When you trust the unseen to do its work, the need to hold on tightly dissolves. In that loosening, resistance loses its grip, because it cannot exist in a mind at ease. Ease is the natural state of abundance. Tension is the mask of fear. When ease returns, so does the effortless movement of good toward you. The illusion of resistance often builds itself around time. The mind says, "It's taking too long," and that thought creates a sensation of delay. But the flow is not governed by the mind's calendar. It moves according to alignment, not time. The moment alignment is clear, time bends, paths clear, and events unfold quickly. This is why resistance can appear heavy for weeks or months and then vanish in an instant. The illusion was never about actual obstacles. It was about the story told around them. Change the story and the resistance melts like snow in the sun. There is also a subtle seduction in resistance. It gives the mind something to fight, something to fix, something to control. It creates the illusion of being busy, of striving for change. But this busyness often only circles the same point, like a wheel spinning in mud. True movement begins not when the fight intensifies, but when it stops altogether. The moment the illusion is seen for what it is, just thought, just belief, just air, the wheel catches traction, and forward movement becomes effortless. Resistance is never conquered through more resistance. It is dissolved through clarity. It is important to recognize how the body reacts to resistance, because resistance lives not only in thought but in feeling. It shows itself as tension, heaviness, tightness, restlessness. These sensations are signals, not barriers. They are the body's way of revealing that the mind is holding on too tightly. When you soften into those sensations instead of fighting them, the grip loosens. Breathing, stillness, and quiet awareness are often enough to pierce the illusion. The flow of abundance is always just beyond that thin wall of tension, waiting patiently. Resistance has no true root in reality because reality is abundant by design. Scarcity, delay, difficulty, all these are constructs built from fear. They have no foundation except belief. When belief shifts, they vanish. This is why some can receive with ease what others struggle to achieve through endless effort. It is not that the flow favors one person over another. It is that one person sees through the illusion while the other fights with it. The flow is neutral, constant, impartial. It answers clarity, not struggle. The most powerful shift happens when you begin to treat resistance not as an enemy, but as a mirage. You do not argue with a mirage. You do not beg it to disappear. You simply walk through it, and it vanishes because it was never real. Each time you walk through it, your trust grows stronger, and the illusion grows weaker. Eventually, what once felt like a wall becomes transparent, like mist that can no longer hold its shape. This is the quiet power of knowing that resistance is only illusion. It is not something to fear, not something to fix, not something to overcome. It is something to see through, something to stop feeding with thought and emotion. When you stop resisting resistance, it loses its last hiding place. The act of fighting it gives it form. The act of ignoring it makes it invisible. Abundance has always been flowing, and the illusion cannot change that. What it can do is distract, delay, and distort, but only to the extent you let it. Once the spell is broken, the current rushes forward as though it had been waiting for you to remember what was always true. The wall was never real, the flow was never gone. The illusion only lived in the mind's shadow, and shadows disappear the moment the light returns. Abundance answers a clear inner word because the universe is responsive, not resistant. It listens not to scattered wishes but to the steady tone of certainty. A clear inner word is a declaration without tremor, a frequency that cuts through noise, confusion, and contradiction. When you speak within yourself with clarity, you issue a command that reverberates through the invisible structure of reality. The energy around you organizes itself according to the clarity you hold inside. What is blurred within remains blurred without. What is focused within becomes tangible in the world around you. Abundance flows where the signal is strong, not where it flickers. The inner word is more than thought. It is not a passing idea or a hopeful whisper. It is the soundless voice of your being when it knows what it wants and refuses to waver. This inner word does not need to be shouted or repeated endlessly. Its strength lies in its purity. Just as a single clear note can fill a room more powerfully than a chorus of uncertain sounds, one unwavering declaration within can draw abundance faster than countless scattered affirmations. It is the difference between calling and mumbling. The universe responds to the call. When the inner word is confused, tangled with doubt and fear, the response from the outer world mirrors that confusion. Opportunities appear and disappear. Momentum starts and stalls. The energy cannot find a clear direction to follow. But when the inner word is sharp like a line drawn through still water, the outer world reflects it without delay. Clarity creates speed, it creates alignment. It removes the friction that mixed signals create. The universe is not punishing when it delays. It is only waiting for a clear instruction to follow. The clarity of the inner word comes from trust. Trust strips away all the noise, leaving only the core declaration. Trust says, "This is mine," and the word rings clean and strong. Doubt tries to add layers, to question, to complicate. But the pure inner word does not need explanations. It does not need backup plans. It simply exists as truth, spoken from within. The moment this word settles into the core of your being, everything outside begins to move around it, as if reality itself is listening and responding to its direction. Your inner word is like a tuning fork. When struck with certainty, it vibrates through the unseen and causes matching vibrations to appear in the physical. Events, people, opportunities, and resources align with that frequency. It is not necessary to chase them, they are drawn to the vibration. If the word is weak or filled with hesitation, the vibration falters and the response becomes scattered. But a clear, unwavering word acts like a beacon. Abundance cannot ignore it because it is woven into the same fabric of existence. It is a law, not a favor. This is why alignment matters more than effort. You can work tirelessly while your inner word remains uncertain, and the results will reflect that uncertainty. You can also speak once with perfect clarity, and the universe begins to shift. It is not the volume of your voice but the precision of your inner tone that calls abundance forth. The inner word is not about convincing anyone, not even yourself. It is about knowing. When you know, you do not need to repeat. The knowing speaks once and leaves the echo to do the work. A clear inner word is born when the mind stops fighting itself. It is formed in stillness, when the noise of doubt fades and only the simple, quiet truth remains. This is why silence is often more powerful than endless effort. In silence, the inner word sharpens. It becomes simple, direct, undeniable. It ceases to plead and begins to declare. It is in this state that abundance responds swiftly. The moment the word is clear, the flow is set in motion, and nothing external can resist it. The outer world is only a reflection. It does not initiate, it mirrors. If the reflection looks blurred, the mirror is not at fault. It is the image within that must be focused. When you align your inner word with the outcome you desire, the mirror has no choice but to reflect it. This is not a matter of force but of natural law. Just as water reflects the sky without effort, the world reflects your inner state without resistance. Your role is to create clarity within. The reflection follows on its own. Every thought you hold carries a tone, but not every tone is clear. Many people send out mixed messages, wanting and fearing, believing and doubting, reaching and retreating. This confusion creates delay, not because the universe withholds, but because it does not receive a single instruction. A scattered inner word builds a crooked path. A clear inner word builds a straight road. When the road is straight, the abundance that is already moving toward you arrives faster, without detour. Clarity does not mean shouting louder. It means stripping away what is unnecessary. It means deciding once and standing by that decision inwardly. It means no longer negotiating with fear, no longer rehearsing old doubts, no longer giving energy to uncertainty. The pure inner word stands alone, like a single flame in the dark, and everything that resonates with it moves closer. The flame does not chase, it draws. To speak the inner word clearly, the heart and mind must agree. If the mind speaks one thing but the heart whispers another, the signal becomes fractured. But when both move in harmony, the vibration is strong and undeniable. This harmony is not forced, it is allowed. It comes when you trust your desire as already valid, already real, already answered. When the heart trusts and the mind stops arguing, the inner word emerges effortlessly. The clear inner word has no attachment to how or when. It speaks once and lets the flow do its work. It does not tug at the seed it has planted. It does not stand in the field digging up the ground to check. It knows the seed is alive, and so it lets it grow. The moment doubt tries to creep in, the inner word remains steady. It does not bend to passing thoughts or outside appearances. It holds its form like a bell that keeps ringing long after it's struck. This is why some see swift manifestations while others wait for years. The difference is not in worth or luck, but in clarity. One speaks with a steady inner voice. The other whispers through layers of uncertainty. The universe does not pick favorites, it follows frequency. When the frequency is clean, the response is quick. When it is cluttered, the response is tangled. Clearing the inner word is clearing the path itself. Even when nothing seems to be happening, the clear inner word is at work. Its vibration moves through spaces unseen, weaving circumstances together in quiet ways. You may not witness the movement at first, but it is moving. This is why faith and clarity walk together. The clear inner word does not need constant reassurance. It trusts that the signal has been sent and the response is on its way. It does not waver each time the outer world takes a breath. When you hold a clear inner word, you become like a still center around which everything moves. The noise of the world loses its grip. The tides of doubt crash and fall away, unable to shake the certainty within. In this stillness, the flow of abundance becomes steady, direct, and swift. You no longer reach for it frantically. It comes to you, because it has heard you clearly. The call was made once, and the answer follows. The power was never in the outer noise, but in the quiet certainty of your inner voice.